Today marks a day of ideas, inspiration, and innovation, a confluence of brilliant minds coming together to explore pathways towards a more sustainable and equitable future. We are indeed privileged to host eminent academicians, researchers, policymakers, and students from across the globe who share a common vision to build a world where science, society, and policy work hand in hand for the well being of all. Good morning to all participants from different time zones across the globe. This is Sharad Anil Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of English. Welcome to the two-day international conference hosted by St. Mary's College, Puthanangadi on Innovations for Sustainable Future, Bridging Science, Society and Policy. We are proud to host the fourth international conference from our college, and on behalf of St. Mary's College, I extend a warm welcome to everyone to the inaugural ceremony. Before we begin the proceedings, let us invoke the blessings of the Almighty for the smooth content of this conference. May this gathering enlighten our minds and strengthen our resolve toward a sustainable tomorrow.
ഹൃദയരാഗതന്ത്രിമീട്ടി സ്നേഹഗീതമേകിയും കർമ്മഭൂമി തളിരിടുന്ന വർണ്ണമേകിയും നമ്മിൽ വാഴുമാതിനാമം ഇന്നു വാഴ്ത്തിടാം. ഞങ്ങൾ പാടുമീ സ്വരങ്ങൾ കീർത്തനങ്ങളാകണേ. ചോടുവയ്ക്കുമീ പദങ്ങൾ നൃത്തലോലമാകണേ. കുഞ്ഞു വീടിനുൾക്കളങ്ങൾ സ്വർഗമാകണേ. അമ്മ നൽകുമുമ്മ പോലും അമൃതമാകണേ. പൂർണ്ണമീ ചരാചരങ്ങൾ ഗുരുവരങ്ങളാകണേ. ഹൃദയരാഗതന്ത്രിമീട്ടി സ്നേഹഗീതമേകിയും കർമ്മഭൂമി തളിരിടുന്ന വർണ്ണമേകിയും നമ്മിൽ വാഴുമാതിനാമം ഇന്നു വാഴ്ത്തിടാം.
To begin this enlightening session, it's time to extend a warm welcome to all gathered here. Every great event begins with words of welcome that set the tone for the day. It is my pleasure to invite Ms. Deepa Viti, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, the coordinator of this international conference on innovations for sustainable future, bridging science, society, and policy, to deliver the welcome address and formally greet the gathering. Welcome, ma'am.
Good morning to all. Respected dignitaries, esteemed guests, faculty members, dear students, and all participants. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to the fourth International E-Conference organized by St. Mary's College, Puthanangadi, titled Innovations for Sustainable Future, Bridging Science, Society, and Policy. It is my privilege and honor to extend a warm welcome to this esteemed gathering at the fourth E-Conference of St. Mary's. We are delighted to host such a prestigious event that brings together distinct personalities, scholars, and experts from various fields. At St. Mary's, we applaud the tradition of academic excellence and intellectual disclosure, and this conference stands as a testament to our commitment to knowledge sharing and innovation. As I step into my duty of delivering this welcome address, I do so with great respect and enthusiasm, embracing the responsibility of setting the tone for this significant occasion. At the outset, I extend my heartfelt greetings to Reverend Dr. Denny CM, Principal of St. Mary's College, Puthanangadi. His visionary leadership and unwavering dedication inspires and guide us in all our academic initiatives. On behalf of fraternity of St. Mary's College, I welcome you, Father, to this prestigious initiative of our institution. It gives me great pleasure to warm welcome Reverend Father Nannam Premkumar, Principal of St. Joseph's School, Puthanangadi, to inaugurate this prestigious event. Your presence adds immense value and inspiration to this event, and we look forward to your enlightening words. On behalf of the entire St. Mary's College community, I am delighted to extend a warm welcome to you, Father. It is an honor and privilege to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed keynote speaker, Mr. Claudio Delonzo, researcher and director of the Research Center on the Economic of Transition Countries. We are deeply grateful for your presence at this prestigious academic initiative of St. Mary's. Your expertise and insight will undoubtedly enhance our understanding of this crucial topic, and we eagerly anticipate your address. Once again, on behalf of everyone present, I extend my heartfelt welcome to you, sir. I also take this moment to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Abdul Musabir K, IQAC Coordinator, St. Mary's College, who will deliver the felicitation address, and Mr. Nibin P. Kurian, Head of Department of English, St. Mary's College, who will propose the vote of thanks. With great joy and pride, I extend warm welcome to all the distinguished participants of this conference. We are delighted to have researchers, academicians, and professionals from across the globe joining us to share their insights, ideas, and innovation that can shape a better and sustainable tomorrow. Your active participation and contribution will make this event truly meaningful and inspiring. Once again, a heartfelt welcome to each one of you, and wish you all a fruitful and engaging conference experience. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the words of welcome. Every successful institution is guided by a visionary leader whose commitment, guidance, and constant encouragement inspire both faculty and students alike. It is indeed our privilege to invite our respected principal, Reverend Dr. Denny CM, the guiding force behind all our academic endeavors, to deliver the presidential address and share the words of wisdom on this remarkable occasion. Father, please.
Thank you, Mom. Respected Chief Guest, distinguished speakers, delegates, colleagues, and my dear students. It is indeed a moment of great pride and joy to welcome you all to this two-day International E-Conference on Innovations for Sustainable Future, Bridging Science, Society, and Policy, organized by St. Mary's College, Puthanangadi. This conference is a reflection of our institution's commitment to advancing knowledge and promoting dialogue that connects academic excellence with a social responsibility. At St. Mary's College, we believe that true education is not confined to the classroom and textbooks. It extends to the larger mission of building a just, sustainable, and compassionate world. Over the years, our college has made remarkable strides in academic and co-curricular excellence. We are proud to have received the NAAC A+ accreditation, which stands as a testimony of dedication, quality, and collective effort of our management, staff, and students. Our institution has also been honored with the Minister's Excellence Award, recognizing our contribution to the higher education, and social outreach. In the light of this tradition, today's conference holds a special significance. It brings together scientists, researchers, policymakers, and educators to discuss one of the most urgent themes of our time, sustainability. The world today stands at a crossroads where the pursuit of progress must be balanced with the preservation of our planet and the well-being of society. Science provides us with knowledge, society gives it meaning, and policy transforms it into action. Only when these three dimensions work together can we achieve a future that is innovative, inclusive, and sustainable. At St. Mary's College, we encourage our students to think critically, act responsibly, and innovate fearlessly. Conferences like this one are vital in nurturing that spirit of inquiry and in connecting our local initiatives with the global perspectives. On this auspicious moment, I would like to name out and express my gratitude to the eminent guests and speakers of the conference. First of all, we have the great presence of Reverend Father Nannam Premkumar, Principal of St. Joseph School, Puttanangadi. He is going to inaugurate our conference. I am very much privileged to mention the name of Mr. Claudio, the director of the Research Center on the Economy of Transition Countries, Albania. Mr. Claudio will be delivering the keynote address of the conference. Again, we have an eminent personality, Professor Gabriel Simon Tuttle, Academic Director of Loyola College of Social Science, Trivandrum. He will be the main resource person of this conference. I am very happy to say that he has recently been appointed as the president of the All India Accounting Association. Tomorrow we have another important resource person, Dr. Murli Vallaban, Director of Marine Institute, Kuttikanam. He is a renowned expert in this topic and we are indeed fortunate to have him with us. I take this opportunity to express my heartfelt appreciation to the organizing committee, coordinators, and faculty members for their tireless efforts in bringing this event to fruition. Let this conference serve not only as a platform for sharing ideas, but also an inspiration to reimagine the future we wish to create, one that values sustainability, human dignity, and harmony with nature. Once again, I extend my best wishes for the success of this conference. May our discussions over the next 2 days spark meaningful innovations that truly bridge science, society, and policy for a better tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Father. It gives immense pleasure to welcome a distinguished academic leader from our own management family, a visionary educator and an inspiring administrator, Reverend Father Nannam Premkumar, Principal of St. Joseph School, who has graciously consented to inaugurate today's international conference. We are honored by your presence and delighted to invite you to formally inaugurate the conference and deliver the inaugural address. Father, please.
Reverend Father Dennis C.M., the principal of St. Mary's College, and the president of today's inaugural address, Mr. Claudio Di Alonso from the Catholic University, and all the staff, the faculty, and various research scholars, those who are attending this 2 days e-conference from all across the world, a warm good morning to you all. As a tribute to Mahatma Gandhi, I would like to begin with this quote. The earth has everything to satisfy the man's needs, but not to satisfy to everyone's greed. We are living in a time of extraordinary scientific advancement, from clean energy to artificial intelligence, from biotechnology to space exploration. The science has pervaded every sphere of human life, and it has mitigated a lot of our problems, and it is striving forward to reduce the human struggles, human afflictions. And science has opened the doors to the possibilities which were thought impossible in the past. Yet still, we are at the crossroads. Every time we face a lot of struggles and we face a lot of challenges, and we are beset with grave problems with regard to environment, with regard to the human society, especially climate change, depletion of resources, poverty, hunger, inequality. So it is at this juncture that the sustainability becomes not merely an option, but a necessity. A sustainability is that we make use of the resources for ourselves without compromising the resources for the future generations. The recently United Nations organizations has published 17 goals, UN sustainable goals, to be achieved by 2030. So we are all striving towards that. And in achieving that, the major factors of those UN 17 goals are zero hunger, zero poverty, gender equality, clean energy, and so on. Everything is oriented towards to make our human life pristine and to make our earth and environment so pleasurable for the human beings, not only for us, but the future generations, to live in an atmosphere of tranquility and peace and without any disease. So as we move ahead, in order to achieve this sustainable development and goals, as Wangari Maathai, the first African woman to win the Nobel Prize for Peace in 2004, she mentions that for any development, we should not destroy the environment. When we see in the past, in the name of the development, we have caused a lot of damage to the environment. And that's a fact that we are facing every time in the news and all. We hear that landslips occurring, floods occurring, and there are some cases wherein droughts, famine. So these things are all contributing for the human tragedies. And enough is enough that as per the recent UN reports, every year globally, $2 trillion were lost due to this climate change. And because of which, still a lot of millions of people are under poverty. So it is at this juncture that this triad that St. Mary's College has proudly chosen, I should appreciate for choosing such a kind of an noble thought to have this kind of e-conference on innovations for sustainable future, bridging science, society, and policy. This triad, science, society, and policy, are inseparable. Science creates a lot of tools that by pushing the boundaries to make our human life comfortable. And we know that in the event of the recent Nobel Prize winners, physics, chemistry, and medicine, all of them have contributed immensely for mitigating our human problems and alleviating all of our problems in the society. And when we see the science, science is a noble thing, which has set of skills and knowledge, which is in our hands. But it all depends upon us how we use it. In the past also, science contributed immensely for the growth and development of our human society. At the same time, due to the rampant industrialization, we face ozone layer depletion, pollution, all those things. But if the science is regulated, if it is science is driven in the proper direction, science can work miracles and science can truly create a society we all like to live in. And when it comes to the next factor being that a policy, before going for the society, we need to see about the policy. We do have the policy makers all across the world, the parliaments, in every democratic or non-democratic setups, there are policy makers. It is in their hands that the world's destiny resides because they are the ones, those who design the policy, they are the ones, those who implement the policy and execute the policies. If the policy is driven towards this clean energy, towards sustainable development, we are sure that we will be able to achieve by 2030 as UNO has envisioned. Now, when we see our own Indian government's budget, it is quite impressive that 53% rise of amount was allocated for the clean energy. That is roughly 26,000 crores of rupees was allocated for this financial year only for the clean energy. And another 20,000 crores was allocated for solar energy. So because now we can upload the efforts of our Indian government towards this initiative, wherein how this not only Indian government but all the governments all across the globe, they are making concerted efforts. Even the G7, all those kind of whenever the greater the meeting or the confluence of the nations when they come, they speak about the clean energy because without this clean energy and without the sustainable development, we cannot go ahead. So the policy makers are making their own contributions, and if all the policy makers of across the globe, if they can work together, sure and certain that we can work wonders and also we can achieve the goals of sustainable development. And when it comes to the society, and what are the science and policy makers gives to society, the society also should be educated to embrace it with open mind and heart. Always it is felt that whenever there are some changes happen, there will be always a resistance initially. But the people, when they are spread awareness about it, then people accept it and then people can implement it in their life. So in order to have this clean energy and also in order to alleviate poverty, hunger, and from the societies. So these innovation is a noble word wherein all of whatever the thoughts, whatever the actions that we do are all oriented towards this. The science in its own way is contributing, and the policymakers in their own way, they are also designing the policies in order to make it happen. So it is when the confluence of or the convergence of this triad, science, society, and the policy, when those three of them come together, when there is a proper interaction and health interaction, so I'm sure that we can achieve the great results for the sustainable development. And I would like to wind up my inaugural address, and also I wish all the best for St. Mary's College and for all the resource persons those are going to address these 2 days of this e-conference. And I wish that this noble initiative may continue in the years to come by St. Mary's College. And with these words, and praying to Almighty God that this e-conference may be a successful one and also will be beneficial to all the attendees all across the globe, and the message and the spirit of this e-conference be spread far and wide and we achieve the goals of sustainable development. And with these words, I formally inaugurate this 2 days international e-conference on innovations for a sustainable future, bridging science, society, and policy. Thank you all.
Thank you, Father. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my privilege to introduce our distinguished keynote speaker for today's conference. Hailing from Albania, Dr. Claudio D'Alonso is an eminent academician whose work in the field of business law has earned international recognition. Before I invite him to address, let me give you a brief overview of his remarkable academic journey and contributions. Dr. Claudio D'Alonso is a graduate in law and a PhD in business law, endowed with full knowledge of EU standards and legislation. He has been working for more than 8 years for the Catholic University, Our Lady of Good Counsel, Tirana, Albania, where he gives lectures on business law, international markets law, private law, and legal English. He is currently holding the position of researcher and director of the Research Center on the Economy of Transition Countries. Dr. Claudio D'Alonso has been the scientific manager of the research project Funding for Entrepreneurship and Enterprise in Albania for Innovations, and he is now the scientific manager of the research project Sustainability in Special Economic Zones, both funded by Catholic University, Our Lady of Good Counsel, Tirana, Albania. Over the years, Dr. Claudio D'Alonso has taken part in many international academic activities in the field of business law and sustainability and has published numerous scientific publications. With such an impressive profile and a wealth of experience, sir, we are truly honored to have you with us today. Without further ado, may I now invite Dr. Claudio D'Alonso to deliver the keynote address. Sir, please.
Well, good morning, everybody. I hope my voice is clear for all of you. It is a privilege for me to open this conference, which is dedicated to innovations for a sustainable future. I personally believe that today we stand at crossroads where science, society, and policy are no longer separate spheres, but they are interdependent with each other, and they shape our collective destiny. The challenges of our century, such as climate change, inequality, resource depletion, cannot be solved in isolation. I truly believe that they demand a new mindset that combines knowledge with responsibility, innovation with ethics, and growth with inclusion. In this sense, I think that sustainability is not just a scientific or an economic goal, but it is something different. It can be considered like a profound act of civilization. Sustainability can be the way we choose to inhabit the world together. So, in my talk today, I will try to reflect on how law, policy, and corporate governance can work together to transform sustainability from a mere declaration of intent into a concrete, measurable, and maybe lasting reality. In fact, the theme of sustainability is not important only from an economic point of view, but it is important, it is pivotal also from a legal point of view. We can say that sustainability can be considered like a strategic goal and is seen as a beacon that guides also business activity, to the extent that the concept of sustainability is evoked from different perspectives. So, the starting point is marked by the United Nations 2030 Agenda, which placed the issue of sustainability at the center of attention. In fact, in an international context of strong destabilization, where economic and productive resources are scarce, pursuing sustainability objectives seems to be fundamental to achieving the desired results. Talking about business activities, we can say that the carrying out of a business and the consequent increase in production entails positive effects, of course. In fact, a flourishing business leads to an increase in the assets of single enterprises, which of course is related to an increase in the value of investments made by shareholders. However, we must say that these advantages are always counterbalanced by some negative elements that, in the long run, may far outweigh the positive ones. Put simply, an immediate benefit may be followed by a long-term disadvantage. That is why I think it is necessary to investigate, to decide whether a business activity should be sustainable or not. What can we say about sustainability? I think that the concept of sustainability seems to be rather neutral, and its meaning may change depending on the specific context to which it refers. If we consider a business, sustainability recalls at first the idea of the continuity of the business itself, and so it might be considered as a synonym of stability over time. Anyway, the issue can also be approached from a different angle, an angle that differs from that of the duration. I'm talking about the consequences for the environment resulting from a massive production activity, which is carried out only in the view to obtaining the highest possible profit. In this sense, the idea of sustainability seems to imply the need to bring a business closer to the protection of more general interests, such as the environment or human life. Of course, the two different meanings of the word sustainability belong to separate levels whose aims never necessarily coincide. So, regarding environmental sustainability, I believe it seems appropriate to remember that every company, every business conducts its activity with the objective of generating profits rather than losses. However, it seems no longer possible to be insensitive to the issues of environmental protection and sustainability. I think it is essential nowadays to react to the problems that may arise, ensuring both a business-friendly environment and an attractive climate for investors. So, there is a need by many people, but almost by everybody, to adopt all necessary instruments and precautions to reduce or to try to cancel, to erase all the harmful consequences for the environment. Of course, this kind of task is entrusted to governments. It is not something that everybody can do or decide. So it is in the governments are in charge, and the attribution of it to private actors with market power is in contradiction with the principle of democracies. So the role of a government is fundamental, both for the protection of general interests, such as the environment, and for monitoring the possible transition to a different kind of economic system. However, we can say that any business can make its voice heard just to contribute to the management of general problems, making discretionary choices that may be decisive in the production of a given result and possibly sacrificing part of their own profit. As an example, we can say that measures can be taken to control and prevent pollution, or to recycle, to manage and reduce waste. In the same way, the management of natural resources in a sustainable manner, the optimal use of assets such as land and water, and the adoption of clean production methods through the promotion of efficient use of energy and environmentally friendly technologies seems to be fundamental. I say this because I believe that the historical moment we're living seems favorable to a synergy between business, environment, and society. A synergy which is able to place social and environmental issues at the center of business activity. So the idea is that the environmental and social issues are vital for successful business management. We can say that in the last year, the focus on social and environmental sustainability has increased not only in the economic sphere, but in all the aspects of daily life. This is both a reply to environmental disasters, which happened over the years and keep happening. And it can be also considered as a consequence of the pandemic, which made clear that there is a need for a future which is based on a different social and economic system. Both national lawmakers and individuals have felt the need to set a new pace in their daily lifestyles. And so, as a consequence, in the legal and economic spheres, seeking a balance in the relationship between the rules which are dictated by business and the impact on the environment. That is why the European Union has directly addressed the problem and has tried to steer businesses towards adopting a virtuous behavior and changing production models. In fact, a new growth strategy has been identified and new rules have been introduced. These rules aim at reducing emissions for human activity and pursuing climate neutrality in Europe by 2050. This project is called European Green Deal, and it's not just a set of technical rules, but it sees an economic and social transition as its goal. The aim of this European Green Deal is something we can say virtuous, something which is driven by the consciousness that finance, economy, and the ecosystem are not isolated phenomena, but they are closely connected to each other and so must be changed together. That is why non-financial aspects must be more integrated into business life so that the financial system and investors are oriented towards sustainable investments and informed about the sustainability of those investments they already made. The goals of climate neutrality and the creation of a better environment have seen further steps forward through the enactment of the European climate legislation. Now we can say that sustainability and environmental protection have also affected the field of state aid, which is very important in Europe and in Italy as well. But what do we mean when we talk about sustainability? What I meant to say is this. Over the last few years, everybody talks about sustainability, but we should stop for a minute and think about it. What can we say about it? We know that the topic of sustainability is linked to the phrase environmental, social governance, ESG. This word is rather recent and dates back to 2004 when the United Nations asked a number of financial institutions to produce a report containing recommendations aimed at integrating environmental and social concerns into asset management and investment activities. So, what does E stand for? The reference to the environment implies the need to look at everything related to it. And so, gas emissions, water, reduction of waste production, circular economy, biodiversity, and species extinction. On the other hand, the social factor S refers to some rights such as equality and non-discrimination. Some rights which are recognized as fundamental by all evolved legal systems. We can also refer to other rights such as inclusion, human rights, mental health in all environments, especially in the work field, education in terms of quality and gender equality. Anyway, we must underline that the social issue is not unambiguous, but it may change according to the historical moment and according to the place in which it is addressed. This means that the social factor is inevitably connected and influenced by cultural, religious, and political traditions. Finally, there is the third factor which comes into consideration, governance, G. What can we say about it? This factor does not affect the life of a business from outside, but from within, from inside of it. Governance is about matters relating to the management of a company, and consequently, it's about the increase in the value of the shareholdings of the shareholders. Those shareholders who have invested in that company. So this seems to imply that there is a contrast between the G factor and the other two, since all these factors are all aimed at protecting conflicting interests. However, as I always like to say, it is possible to approach the theme in consideration from a different point of view. We can say that this factor, the governance factor, stands together with the other two, and it is also a precondition for them. I say this because I believe that only if a business is managed efficiently, all the results we've talked about it can be achieved. Any business can only effectively tackle environmental and social challenges if its governance is sound. So I think we can draw a conclusion now, and we can say that corporate governance bodies must also pay attention to environmental and social profiles and must be able to deal with any crisis that may happen. If this is true, it follows that the meaning of the expression of the word ESG is to be prepared for crises that may happen in the future and manage them appropriately. Of course, there can be many risks that may arise. And these risks must be considered with a view to profit and return in the medium and long term. But I believe that this specific task must be carried out not only to allow a business to profitably carry out its own activity, but also to allow investors to assess the performance of the operation carried out. So, from what we have said up to this point, it is clear that the word ESG identifies different scenarios in which sustainable actions and investments are carried out. This is done by paying attention not only to the environment, but also to human activity and business management. Operating within a short time horizon can be considered because of negative effects, such as environmental degradation and reduced investment in research and development. That is why it is necessary the adoption of appropriate reaction instruments. What I mean to say is that today it seems imperative, it seems necessary that businesses plan their activities over the long term and carry them out according to a sustainability objective, an objective that allows them to face any possible difficulty and overcome it. Anyway, we must underline that the concept of long term is something undefined, and it is something that may change depending on the activity which is carried out. On the other hand, we must say that there is nothing to prevent a business from planning a time horizon for carrying out its activity that is not necessarily long and that gives an immediate return on the investments made. However, we must say that running a business in a sustainable manner can affect the organization of the business itself. And so many questions arise regarding the applicable rules. If I think about Italy, the country I come from, there is a growing conviction that any business should be carried out with ESG criteria in mind, and that these criteria, these factors, are the purpose, the end of any business. In other words, we can say that sustainability and ESG factors should be an integral part of the organization of a business and can be considered as an additional goal of it. However, at the moment, it is not possible to give concrete examples. However, we must say that the aim of achieving the highest possible profit will be added to that of pursuing secondary results. Secondary results which converge towards the realization of a better economic and social environment. Of course, this cannot be just reduced only to compliance with the rules contained in the sector legislation, because it is clear that the violation of specific rules can be a source of liability in civil and maybe criminal law. Otherwise, the application of ESG factors, of ESG criteria, would require taking into account higher interests, which are considered relevant to the community. From this perspective, the European Green Deal can be the instrument through which sustainable economic growth can be pursued in light of existing environmental challenges. We can also say that running a business in a sustainable manner implies a change in the planning and coordination of the structure of the business itself. And it means also to adopt all the means which are necessary to achieve the desired end of the business. Of course, there's not just one method that can be applied, but it changes depending on the nature and on the size of the business. Anyway, we can say that the adoption of ESG factors requires that the managers act with foresight, carrying out an adequate evaluation between costs and benefits, and if it is necessary, modifying management policies. It means that it is necessary not only to identify any risk and prevent it, but also to consider the consequences that may affect the whole organization of the company. So, going on in my talk and hoping it is not too boring, I would like to say something about the relationship between sustainability and corporate social responsibility. In fact, when we talk about sustainability, there's another aspect of business activity which must be considered. This aspect is corporate social responsibility. Everybody knows as CSR. What is CSR? What is corporate social responsibility? Corporate social responsibility can be understood as the adoption of a behavior that harmonizes economic objectives with the social and environmental objectives of the territory where a business activity is. In fact, the pursuit of such ambitious objectives leads to the conclusion that it is desirable to integrate aspects such as safety and CSR into the creation and management of every business, so that businesses distinguish themselves by their social responsibility objectives. We must bear in mind that CSR is relevant, is important for all types of enterprises, whether they are large or small, and there is no distinction with regard to the activity a business carries out. Of course, CSR is not uniform, but it changes according to political traditions, according to social reality, and the way in which some social and environmental issues are regulated by law. This means that CSR must be adapted to the peculiarities of each country. The application of CSR is very important in Europe, and to this end, an important role is assumed by the theme of sustainability. Sustainability, as I said before, is reflected in the goals of the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, with the consequence that business conduct and responsible development become the basis for a new corporate social responsibility. CSR, talking about it, is made of several elements that combine any kind of aim of each business with additional goals. And the fulfillment of these goals affects a business strategy. What are these goals? So these goals are represented by the observance, mostly on voluntary basis, of ethical and social rules, environmental balances, and human rights. The aim of obtaining an asset advantage in the long term and not just in the short term can be achieved by paying as much attention to the interests of third parties in general as to those of protecting the value of the assets of a business. If this is true, it means that a business is no longer only relevant as an economic factor, but also as a social institution. All the investment directed towards the creation of a society in which there is a development of human capital, protection of the environment, and an increase in the capacity to relate to third parties are the objectives of businesses that want to be socially responsible. Of course, this should apply not only to big enterprises, but also to smaller ones, which are, at least in Italy, are more widespread and make up the Italian entrepreneurial fabric. So, as I said before, the carrying out of business activities in an environmentally and socially sensitive manner has taken place on a voluntary basis, which means that it has been left to the discretion and impulse of companies that over the years have sought to be active in environmental and social policies. Anyway, we must underline that some European legislative interventions have been contributing for some time now to make sure that CSR goes beyond the voluntary and non-binding features. To this end, we can say that non-financial information is considered the main tool for implementing sustainability policies. The primary role assumed by non-financial information has led to the recent enactment of two European directives. The first one is the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, which has imposed sustainability reporting obligations on all large companies and on all companies with securities admitting to trading on regulated markets. According to this directive, companies are required to consider both the consequences of their activities on third parties and the environment, as well as the way in which sustainability issues affect the company themselves. Companies are required to disclose relevant information from both perspectives, as well as pertinent information from only one of them. Yeah. What's more, to protect European investors and to avoid any kind of competitive disadvantage for European companies, the directive will be applied not only to companies in the European Union, but also to other companies that work in the European Union. In addition to this, we must say that a new kind of document has been recently issued. And this document is another directive about due diligence, and it introduces management obligations to steer businesses towards the principles of sustainability. And this directive is called CSDD, and its purpose is to require companies belonging to many different sectors of the economy to manage social and environmental impacts in a responsible way. Even though the entry into force of both directives has been postponed by European legislation, we must underline that these directives has tried to create a more sustainable economic system and make companies aware of the consequences that arise from carrying out their business. The voluntary protection of some interests is giving way to a mandatory defense of them. In fact, we can say that even though the set of rules does not provide for the obligation to take into consideration interests different than those of the shareholders. However, the protection of higher interests, such as the environment, cannot be ignored, can no longer be ignored. This means that the pursuit of environmental, social, and economic sustainability objectives seems to be a duty that goes beyond ethics, and it is, of course, beyond CSR. Pressure to act in this way has also been given by climate change and the economic consequences due to both the COVID-19 pandemic and, unfortunately, the armed conflicts which are currently underway at the gates of Europe. So, the regulatory measures already issued and those which will be implemented represent our fundamental stages in the path towards the creation and implementation of sustainable companies, of sustainable business. And before closing my talk, there's just one more thing I would like to briefly talk about. When we talk about sustainability, we must think about the purpose of a business. So the question is, why do we run a business? Why a business is run? It is necessary to just pursue the interests of the shareholders, or when we run a business, when a business is run, it is necessary to take into consideration also the interests of other parties. There is not a concrete answer to this question. There are different theories about it. And of course, this is not the place to return to the debate on this topic. However, we can say that the purpose of a business is the composition between the interests that all the categories of shareholders wish to pursue and the interests of stakeholders. That is why I believe that, as I said before, managers must always act with foresight, trying to balance all the interests at stake. So we can say that it emerges that the different legislative interventions have turned their attention to sustainability. establishing new rules for the governing bodies of each company, and highlighting that the aim they must strive for is to create a balance between the interests of shareholders and the social demands of sustainability borne by stakeholders. If I think about Italy, I can say that this approach has been accepted by the Italian law, even though only with reference to listed companies. But it follows that the purpose of a business is now broader. A purpose which is not limited only to the achievement of a financial advantage, but which consists also in safeguarding the interests of third parties. So, just to close, I would say that the theme in consideration when we talk about sustainability, the theme of sustainability is important not only from an economic point of view, but also from a legal one. This means that any talk about sustainability or ESG can be spread in many different ways. As we look to the future, innovation and sustainability must not only mean doing new things, but it means doing things better, in harmony with people, in harmony with nature, in harmony with the generations yet to come. Bridging science, society, and policy means building trust between knowledge and action. It means turning ideas into commitments, and it means turning commitments into change. I personally believe that each of us, either we are scholars, just citizens, or policymakers, all of us hold a piece of that bridge. And the strength of this bridge will define not only the sustainability of our economies, but also the dignity of our common humanity. So, thank you everybody for your attention, and I hope my speech was clear, and I hope you have a very good conference over the next 2 days. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Claudio D'Alonso, for the enlightening and inspiring keynote address on sustainability. Your insights have truly broadened our understanding of how we can contribute to a more sustainable world. On behalf of St. Mary's College and all participants, we sincerely thank you for your valuable time, guidance, and the inspiring ideas you have shared with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again in expressing our heartfelt appreciation to Dr. Claudio D'Alonso with a warm round of applause. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm thanking you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's our pleasure, sir. Thank you once again. Next, it is my pleasure to invite Mr. Abdul Musabid K, our esteemed IQAC coordinator, to deliver the felicitation address for this international conference. He had been instrumental in promoting quality and excellence in our institution, and we are honored to have shared a few words with us today. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Abdul Musabid to the virtual stage. Welcome, sir.
Respected Principal, Prof. Dr. Dennis Yam, Honorable Chief Guest, dear teachers and beloved students, a very pleasant morning to everyone. It's given me great happiness to stand before you on this wonderful occasion of the inauguration of the two-day International E-Conference organized by St. Mary's College. On behalf of Internal Quality Assurance Cell, I would like to extend my warm greetings to everyone who has worked sincerely to make this event possible. This conference marks an important step in our college's ongoing journey towards academic excellence, research growth, and global connections. Through this platform, we are bringing together brilliant minds from different places to share ideas, exchange knowledge, and inspire one another. I truly believe that such academic gathering help us to learn new ideas, encourage innovations, and build strong relationships beyond geographical boundaries. I take this opportunity to congratulate the organizing committee, Deepa Miss and team, and all the participants for their hard work and dedication in making this conference a reality. Let this event be a source of learning, inspiration, and collaboration for everyone involved. Wishing the conference great successful and fruitful outcomes. Thank you all and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the close of the inaugural session of this international conference, it is my privilege to invite Mr. Nibin P. Quiril, head of the English department, to deliver the vote of thanks. He has played a key role in organizing this event and ensuring its successful conduct. Let us extend a warm welcome to Mr. Nibin P. Quiril to share the vote of thanks. Come, sir.
Thank you. Reverend Dr. Denny CM, Principal of St. Mary's College, Puthanagadi. Reverend Father Nanam Prem Kumar, Principal of St. Joseph School. Our distinguished keynote speaker, Mr. Claudio Delanso from Catholic University, Our Lady of Good Counsel, Albania. IQC Coordinator, Mr. Musabir. Program Coordinator, Ms. Deepa Viti. Respected faculty members, beloved students, dear guests. A very good morning to one and all. It is truly an honor and privilege for me to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the institution for this two-day international seminar, jointly organized by St. Mary's College, Puthanagadi, and the Catholic University, Our Lady of Good Counsel, Albania. This seminar has now become one of the most anticipated academic ventures of our college. A space that fosters international collaboration, meaningful discussion, and exchange of ideas. The dedication and planning that have gone into organizing this event truly reflect the commitment of our institution to excellence in higher education. First and foremost, we express our heartfelt gratitude to Reverend Dr. Denny CM, our respected principal, for his inspiring presidential address and for his constant support and guidance. His vision and encouragement have always motivated us to dream big and to work diligently towards academic and cultural growth. Our sincere thanks also goes to Reverend Father Nanam Prem Kumar, Principal of St. Joseph School, our sister concern, for his gracious presence and for officially inaugurating this international seminar. His availability and kind words of encouragement truly inspire us to continue our pursuit of excellence. We are deeply grateful to our keynote speaker, Mr. Claudio Delanso, for his insightful and thought-provoking address on sustainability, governance, and responsibilities in the European framework. His reflections on how sustainable governance can influence policy, education, and community welfare have given us a global perspective with local relevance. Mr. Delanso's expertise and eloquence helped us to understand the importance of shared responsibility and sustainable development in shaping a better future. His words have indeed set the perfect tone for the session ahead. We thank him sincerely for sharing his valuable time and wisdom with us. Our heartfelt appreciation also goes to Mr. Musabir, our IQC coordinator, for ensuring that every academic activity in our institution maintains the highest standard of quality and purpose. His continuous efforts contribute greatly to the success of all endeavors. We would like to place on record our deep appreciation for Dr. Deepa Viti, the coordinator of this program, and her dedicated team. Their tireless effort, meticulous planning, and spirit of teamwork have brought this event to life. As the seminar unfolds, we wish them all success and look forward to witnessing the fruitful outcome of their hard work over the 2 days. Our sincere thanks to all faculty members and students who have worked enthusiastically behind the scenes. Your cooperation, creativity, and dedication are what make events like this possible. As we move into the session and discussions, I wish this seminar every success. May it serve as a bridge of knowledge between institutions and as a source of inspiration for all participants. Once again, thank you all for your gracious presence, encouragement, and goodwill. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the conclusion of the inaugural session of our International Conference on Innovations for a Sustainable Future, Bridging Science, Society, and Policy. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed keynote speaker, Dr. Claudio D'Alonso, and all dignitaries for their inspiring address and guidance. We also thank all participants for joining us and making this session a success. Moving forward, we now transition to the next session where we will dwell deeper into our topic. We invite all participants to stay engaged as we continue this exciting journey of knowledge, sharing, and discussion. Thank you. We will move on to the next session within 2 minutes.
Run by the Congregation of the Sons of the Immaculate Conception, CFIC. Blessed Luigi Maria Monti, the founder of the Congregation of the Sons of the Immaculate Conception, CFIC, the patron saint of St. Mary's College, Puthanangadi. A student spends his or her maximum time in the college campus. St. Mary's College, Puthanangadi is a unique institution of higher education in several ways. Its platitudinous tradition and consistent achievements in various fields of human activity develop it with a brilliance of outstanding temple of knowledge. St. Mary's College turned to be the first educational institution of CFIC in India when it was officially
Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to listen to an eminent academician whose distinguished career constitutes to inspire generations of scholars and teachers alike. We are deeply honored to welcome Professor Dr. Gabriel Simon, a renowned academic leader with over 3 decades of dedicated service in higher education. Beginning his teaching journey in 1991, he rose through the ranks to become a professor in 2010 and a senior professor in 2020. Having served in reputed institutions, including a management institute in Pune, he joined the University of Kerala in 1998 and continued to contribute immensely to academia until his retirement in 2024. He has authored 4 books and published numerous research papers, guided 33 PhD and more than 50 MPhil scholars, and coordinated major research and consultancy projects, including collaborations with the Federal Bank and UGC SAP initiatives. Currently, he serves as the academic director of Loyola College and director of Benchmark Institute of Management Studies. It was under his visionary leadership as director of IQAC that the University of Kerala achieved NAC accreditation with an A grade in 2015 and an outstanding A++ grade in 2022. And it gives us immense pride to share that he has been recently elected as the president of Indian Accounting Association, a position that stands as a testament to his academic excellence, leadership, and commitment to the discipline. Heartiest congratulations, sir, on this well-deserved honor. With deep respect and warm admiration, we invite Professor Dr. Gabriel Simon, President of the Indian Accounting Association, to kindly come forward and deliver his address. Before we move on to the much anticipated address by Professor Gabriel Simon, it is my privilege to introduce and invite our respected chair for this session, Dr. Gobigaji, currently working as Assistant Professor, Department of History, St. Mary's College. She has 13 years of teaching experience at various aided and government colleges and hold a PhD from Sri Shankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Kaladi. She has served as a resource person for 3 orientation programs and has made significant academic contributions through numerous publications and presentations at national and international conferences. Her area of interest include gender studies, colonial land legislations, and related socio-economic and historical dimensions. With great respect, I now invite Dr. Gobigaji to kindly take the chair and preside over the session as Professor Dr. Gabriel Simon deliver his address. Welcome, sir. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning to everyone. I have immense pleasure to welcome all the respected dignitaries, the organizers and participants to the first session of the 2-day International E-Conference. The theme of the session is both timely and thought-provoking at the time when the higher education across the world stands at a critical phase of transformation. As introduced by our anchor, for today's session, we have an estimated resource person, Professor Gabriel Simon Thattil, a distinguished scholar and an accomplished academician with an exceptional record of contributions in the field of commerce and management studies. His distinguished career is marked by exemplary service in various academic and professional positions. He is the elected president of Indian Accounting Association, a professional body that brings together accounting teachers, researchers, and practitioners from various parts of India to promote excellence in accounting education and research. He also held key academic leadership roles as the Dean of the University of Kerala and Kannur University and has served as the Chief Editor of the Indian Journal of Accounting. Professor Simon Thattil is the author of 4 books that explores the key themes in human resource management and knowledge management and allied fields. His enthusiastic involvement in various academic fields, reflecting his continued commitment to academic excellence and professional advancement. We are truly honored to have Professor Gabriel sir with us today to share his insights on the topic interdisciplinary approaches for sustainable models in higher education. It's a fact that the theme chosen for this session is indeed a matter of serious discussion among the academicians across the world. In the context of higher education, sustainable model, as we now, refers to various strategies and institutional frameworks to ensure the effective use of resources to achieve long-term academic excellence in a changing world through collaborative research projects and curriculum integrations. Thus, it's sure that the presentation will enrich our existing knowledge on the theme. Now, I invite you, sir, to share your valuable insights with us. I wish you to have an engaging session filled with fruitful discussions and meaningful outcomes. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you and good morning, one and all. I hope I'm audible. The respected chair, Dr. Gopika, event coordinator, Dr. Deepa, other distinguished guests. We have the college principal, Reverend Father Denny, the manager, Reverend Father Ninam, distinguished keynote speaker for the inaugural, Mr. Claudio from the Catholic University of Our Lady of Good Counsel, and all the delegates, teachers, students, researchers. Very happy to be in your midst, and I thank you all for this wonderful opportunity to associate with St. Mary's College, Puthanangadi on their international seminar. Now I'll just take off from where Mr. Claudio actually stopped in terms of environmental sustainability, in terms of ESG, more specifically in terms of governance, corporate governance. And he was talking about how we need to link with nature, how we need to link and be in harmony with nature and Mother Earth when it comes to environment. And all that has to be done under corporate social responsibility and governance model when we invest in sustainable models. So that was precisely on environmental sustainability. I'm talking about something which is more true in terms of higher education institutions, specifically in the context of a very micro level model of sustainability, which I'm sure in the long run will have an association with environment and long-term sustainability into climate change. I'm referring actually to an interdisciplinary approach and a holistic approach where we need to link out into a larger dimensions of environmental sustainability. So with this few words as introduction, let me begin with my presentation. I'll be sharing my slides, and then towards the end, perhaps we can have a discussion on what we have been discussing. Just a minute. Yeah. I hope the slide is visible.
Yes, sir. The slide is visible.
So this is how I have put the theme. Now, this is the coverage that I'm trying to bring in. We are just discussing three things. One, an interdisciplinary approach in higher learning. How this will promote sustainable models for higher education, and the academic journey where we link into a larger dimensions of sustainability. So I'm just talking about the role of higher education institutions in promoting what we call larger dimensions of sustainability. Now, what are the quality outcomes that we're looking into? And it is these quality outcomes which come from higher education, which is going to lead ESG, which is going to be part of governance, which is going to be part of corporate governance in terms of implementing policies relating to sustainability. And there, our primary outcome is to have responsible citizens who very closely associate themselves with issues in terms of equity, issues in terms of inclusiveness, issues in terms of justice, issues in terms of equal rights for all. Now, these are the people whom we call responsible citizens. So education actually looks at creating such responsible citizens. But when do they become responsible citizens? They turn out to be responsible citizens when the knowledge that they acquire is combined with skills, is associated with competencies, and above all, they have the right attitude to look at the globe, the earth, look at mankind, or look at all forms of life in a very responsible format. So higher education institutions are no longer just providers of information or just institutions which are imparting some knowledge. It is also seeing that you turn out to be skilled with competencies, with the right attitude in terms of turning out to be responsible citizens. So this is the key in terms of what higher education institutions are aspiring to. Now, what will be the campus goals? We need vibrant campuses with holistic learning in an interdisciplinary approach. So these two terms are very important. That means our campuses turn out to be vibrant only when there is holistic learning. And this holistic learning today requires breaking all silos of segmented discipline-based learning, where you're saying that I'm only into one domain, I want to exist only with one segment. Those silos need to be broken. And I'm coming to that in detail, so we'll discuss that further. Holistic is talking about something like what we talked about when we were referring to the erstwhile Gurukulam system of education. India, in fact, was a hub for higher learning. When we were looking at education not as the means to just get a job, not as just a means to enter into a vocation or profession. Yes, these two things are very important, but beyond that, beyond job, beyond profession, beyond vocation, it was also associated with personality. It was also associated with living in harmony with nature. It was also associated with wise use of resources, including water, air, natural resources. So this guru in the traditional form was not just a person who was imparting knowledge. He used to decide what the learner should eat and what you should not eat, when you should wake up, when you should sleep, how you should have your good personality, how you should link up with nature, how you should look at well-being, not just your well-being, well-being of the entire society. That is holistic education. So if holistic education is in that format, it involves knowledge, information, and understanding of sustainability of all forms of life around you. So our educational institutions are now transforming or moving into that models where they need to ensure a kind of self-well-being, well-being of others, well-being of the society, well-being of Mother Earth at large. That is holistic education. So this holistic education and the interdisciplinary approach, because silos of discipline, as I said, is getting broken. I cannot exist with my own discipline alone. I am from the domain of commerce and management studies. But when I look at what is happening outside, lots of other disciplines are having deep inroads into what is my domain. So for example, AI is coming into accounting. The financial services that I talk about, let it be banking, let it be capital market, mutual funds, are all driven by fintech. The behavioral finance that I'm teaching is very closely associated with psychology. And along with that, I also need to have good communication skills. I need to have interpersonal skills. I need to be competent enough to deliver what I have learned. And this requires tech embedded learning. This requires drawing from different disciplines. And it's not just in commerce. It's coming up in all disciplines. Medical science, for instance, is very closely associated with material science. When it comes into diagnostic equipments, there is a lot of robotics moving into surgery. Languages is getting closely associated with media studies. And when we talk about environmental sustainability, as we were looking into in terms of the inaugural part, it has got a lot to do with disciplines of environment science, biotechnology, bioinformatics, drug design. Your basic sciences of biology and chemistry are all getting linked into biosciences. So also the association between geology and human inhabitation, or history and the history of medicine, to become holistic interdisciplinary approach. That is what is actually creating enabling education. And that is why NEP 2020 is talking about this in a big way. The 4-year UG program, the new 4-year models that you have across the globe, it's all talking about this kind of an association, where we need a kind of looking beyond. Yes, you need to have a core competency, you need to have a specialized area, but that specialization is getting linked with a lot of other disciplines. That is interdisciplinary approach. And that is what happens in enabling education. And when you have that kind of an enabling education, you will have, or you would require, a critical mass on campus, a critical mass of learners from different disciplines, a critical mass of teachers in different disciplines who come together, who deliberate in terms of what is sustaining the society, the world at large, and how you can blend that into learning models into higher education. So that's what we are trying to discuss today. Now, if you look at this, you can understand something, be it sciences, be it health sciences, be it law, be it your social sciences, commerce, management, or be it arts, languages, there is some kind of technology which is impacting it. I already gave some examples, like health science with material science, robotics into health science, AI into accounting. So technology is going to have a key role everywhere. The impact of AI into different disciplines is going to be so strong. The impact of modeling and the impact of coding into different disciplines, including languages, governance, politics, economics, econometrics. So one way of getting into different disciplines is to embrace technology. We need not be hardcore programmers, or we need not be hardcore software engineers, but we need to understand a bit of technology in terms of application in whatever discipline we are. So one element of interdisciplinarity is in terms of using technology the way it gets inroads into your discipline. And each discipline has to look at it in that format. Say, for example, in language and media studies, how does technology have its place? In commerce and management studies, what kind of technology inputs are relevant? In medicine, in law, in economics, in political science, and in basic sciences, like your zoology, chemistry, bioscience, drug design, what kind of technology is actually taking inroads? So this is one way where we move into embracing technology in the form of trying to see how it has a linkage into what we actually do. And that is what sustains your discipline. Otherwise, we are going to face, definitely disruptive education is going to happen. Things will become fast obsolete. The way we teach, the way we transmit, the way we acquire, and the way we apply is so different. Say, for instance, when I was looking at my discipline, conventionally, what was accounting? Then when I started teaching, around 25-30 years back, I understood that software is replacing conventional accounting. And today, by the time I was just about to retire, 4 or 5 years prior to my retirement, I understood that it is AI into accounting. So we need to embrace that and get that technology impact into us. I need not be a very strong expert with hard level competency in what you call building up AI models, but I need to understand how AI is coming into accounting. So also a hardcore medical practitioner who does a surgery needs to understand what happens in material science that can be used in diagnostics, or how robotics is coming into surgery. And that way, we are trying to, the other day, I'll just give you one example, a wonderful example of how somebody who studies digital marketing tried to understand how animation is moving into advertising. So technology is one element where an interdisciplinary approach in terms of use, in terms of application, is going to make it holistic. That is the first part of it. The second part of it is how allied disciplines actually come into your discipline. It's not just technology, even beyond technology. I was referring to behavioral finance. How much of psychology is going into behavioral finance? How much of space science in terms of understanding applications in agriculture? So when something is happening in terms of satellite technology, they map something on Earth in terms of use in agriculture also. So agriculture gets allied with that. So also we saw in medicine, as I said, material science, robotics, AI, biotechnology, environment science, bioinformatics, drug design, how they are all getting aligned. Your financial services with fintech, blockchain, languages, when it comes, we are trying to get aligned with media studies, journalism, accounting with AI. So there is, and these are just few examples. So that means interdisciplinary approach does not just mean drawing from some discipline without understanding how does it impact. Now, why I'm mentioning this, because normally when we talk about NEP 2020 or when we talk about interdisciplinarity, it should not just go in terms of numbers. You must take a minor, you must take some courses from some other discipline and just meet some deadlines. This is a very purposive choice where I understand that my discipline today has applications when it coexists, when it blends, when it associates with another discipline. Which is that discipline? Which makes its application robust, which makes its application live, which makes its application transformative. I should hook up and link with that. Then learners will find meaningful association. That is how surgeons learn robotics. That is how bioinformatics goes into drug design. That is how accounting goes into AI. It's not just embracing things without understanding why and what it does. That is the interdisciplinarity approach that we need to have. So it's high time that educational institutions and teachers understand how this marriage has to take place, how this blending has to take place, how this association is important. And we also learn from models across the world. I'm happy that you are associating with Catholic University of Our Lady of Good Counsel. So they would have their models of how they understood education to become holistic, to move into interdisciplinary formats, and ensure that responsible citizens come out. As a commerce professor or as a professor in business studies and management, I cannot talk about governance without getting associated with ESG, as was rightly pointed out. Governance is talking about managing maybe different forms of organization, of which one form is corporates. These corporates are creating products and services, but they all have an impact on environment. So I need to understand a bit of environmental science. I need to understand even minute details of how packaging is going to damage the environment, how it is getting integrated with wildlife, how does it get integrated with agro conditions, how is this entrepreneurship activity going to impact water, nature. That is interdisciplinary approach. Although I am not a hardcore specialist in environment science, my commerce and management has got a link into that. So also when I'm teaching a play or a poetry of Shakespeare, That has got something to do with culture. That has got something to do with society. That has got something to do with broad horizons of thinking in terms of equity, in terms of inclusiveness, in terms of wider domains of harmony with man and nature. That is sustainability. So in every discipline, our concept of sustainable models on a long-term basis is associated with certain other disciplines. And I cannot say that I'm teaching only this. I'm a straight jacket and I would look exactly in this pathway. I have to look to my left, I have to look to my right, I have to look above, I have to look below. A 360-degree approach. That is what we are talking about when we are trying to look at interdisciplinary approach. Now, this requires both hard skills and soft skills, as I was referring to responsible citizen. Your hard skill is from the domain in which you are. I'm a language teacher, so I'm talking about languages, or I'm a teacher in political science, or I'm a teacher in economics, so I'll be talking about liquidity and monetary policy. Or I am a teacher in zoology or botany and I'll be talking about theories in botany. You make your people skilled in that. Fine, good. But along with that, they need soft skills also. Some of which are life skills. Your well-being. How to see that you're ensuring that you are making these people actually people who are happy with themselves and who can make people happy around them. So well-being, health, problem-solving skills, communication, personality, again, social skills. How can you work as a team? How do you resolve conflicts? How you deal with disasters? How you try to bring meaning in the life of others? And it starts with your life skills. How do I see meaning in my own life? So all these things are important. And again, if this has to happen, I cannot just say that I'm going to be focused only on my discipline. I have to draw a bit from others. Say, for example, in order to bring in some more perfection into my life, I have to look at well-being of my own self, my health, my face. That's why happiness is becoming so important on campus. That's why yoga, fitness is becoming, lifestyle is becoming so important on campus. And through that, I also learned that equally important is the life of others. That is what we are talking about, social skills. And this requires some kind of opening of, broadening of your horizons in terms of an interdisciplinary approach. Now, we want knowledge hubs. We want knowledge hubs. Higher education institutions have to function as multidisciplinary universities if you're a university. And if you're a college, perhaps even cluster of college. That is why your networking and collaborations of this kind is so important. If you look at the UGC website, it talks about institutional development plan. And these institutional development plans are based on 8 enablers. One is your governance, the other is your academics, then you have your research, and the other enablers are talking about how to support these enablers, like financial enablers, digital enablers, physical enablers, HR enablers and all. But along with that, one key enabler is networking and collaboration. Interdisciplinary approaches require lots of networking, as what you are now doing. Perhaps with other higher education institutions, with R&D, research and development institutions, with the government, with NGOs, with institutions which are providing, sustainable development models, with your UN Sustainable Development Goals, because each of these goals are aligned. That is, the IDP talks about aligning with SDGs. Some of them are related to poverty, some of them are related to gender, some of them are related to employment, skilling, better living, nature, protection, so on and so forth. So for that, we need to have clusters of colleges, because all disciplines in an interdisciplinary format might not be available on one particular campus. We have limitations in terms of how much of cross linkages we can provide. We have limitations in terms of how much of the skilling competency models we can impart. There are some limitations on that. But in spite of that, what kind of cross linkages? So clusters are very important. Research is very important. Research intensive models, teaching intensive universities, degree granting colleges. So in all these models that we have, in all the models that we pursue, essentially we have to look at sustainable models. And I cannot say that we are just degree granting colleges, so we just create graduates. The graduates, the postgraduates, the research degree holders, all that you create are actually people who can put their knowledge into context, who can put their knowledge into situations, who can relate into a real life context. This situational learning, this relational learning, this translational learning requires understanding of allied disciplines which come into the whole domain of practice. That is what we are trying to bring across when we are trying to do this. So then now I'm coming to the next part. How do we create the sustainable models? How do we build up these sustainable models? We do this by having systems in place. All educational institutions who are now here with us, or all educational institutions across the country, we are creating systems in place where our processes are guided towards desired outcomes. We need to examine that all that we do, all our processes are guided towards outcomes, and this is the essence of systems, and this is the essence of sustainability. Desired outcomes in terms of application, in terms of responsible citizenship, in terms of sustainable people who can lead sustainable models, who can get integrated into sustainable models. So that is what we are doing. And now I'm trying to talk about at a micro level how higher education institutions can look at this. How can we approach this in terms of sustainability? And this sustainability has got something very simple. That is, all our systems are not isolated systems. Let it be animal life, plant life, nature, they are all linked. Flora, fauna, they are all linked. They all support one another. If you look at the entire philosophy of animal life, it is so wonderfully designed that there is a coexistence between systems. If you damage one of them, you will have problems with. I was reading the other day development in the metro city of Mumbai, where they try to see that you have lots of new emerging areas developed, land filling done and emerging areas developed. So they created a lot of flats by filling up marshy land, and suddenly they saw that this rats and mice which were so dwelling in that place, they are all entering into homes. We are now listening into, or we are now actually getting lots of issues relating to animal-human conflict. And we are trying to see what is happening actually there. Elephants and wild animals entering human inhabitation, and human beings saying that life is becoming very miserable. But there is a systems approach there. There was a space for animals and there was a space for human beings. And there's a space for forest and wildlife. There is a space for water to flow. There is a space for the coastal life and the coast and the sea and all that. Systems should be connected. But when you have something like this, and the whole issue of biodegradability is also this. What do you mean by biodegradability? Something that you create, any product or service that you create, the product has to have a life, and after that it should be subsumed by the next system. Now, when you say something is not biodegradable, what does it mean? It simply means that you created something and there is some plastic or there is some element of which is not observed by the next system. So it remains like that. It is a problem for soil. It is a problem for nature. This is the whole thing about environment protection, all which we were discussing earlier in the preliminary part. So every system is connected in such a way that one-to-one association should be there. Or in very simple term, output to input relationship must be there. Or yet in other words, let me simplify this in a very simple form. The output from one system must become the input of the next system, and it should go on and on. The output from that second system must become the input in the third system, and it should go on and on. This is true with products, processes, organizations, animal, plant life, so on and so forth. But when this does not happen, you have problems. That's what I was referring to biodegradability. You created an output. It is not getting, it's not becoming the input of another system. Now come back to educational institutions. We are also creating some outputs. What are our outputs? We are creating graduates, postgraduates. How fast do they become the input of the next system? The next system is placement, industry, government bodies, entrepreneurship, self-employment. Is this output becoming an input there? And is that input engaging in good sustainable models? If that has to happen, it requires a kind of learning which is in an interdisciplinary approach. That is what I am referring to in terms of linking system. Forward linkage is what I just mentioned from the higher education institutions. They must get placed. They must get employed. They must get self-employed. They must become entrepreneurs. They must be observed. That is forward linkage. So also there is a connect between schools to higher learning. That is backward linkage. The output from schools are becoming the input in colleges, and the output from colleges are becoming the input in the follow-on system. Now, somewhere down the line, we are facing a problem. The output in the system is not getting rightly placed. They're not having the right competence, skills, and ability to become the input in the next system. Industry is saying that graduates are not employable, or they are not competent to do what they have actually learned. NASSCOM is saying that around only 30% of the engineers are really competent of doing what they have actually studied in engineering. So there's a gap. And when that gap is so huge, when the output, your graduates, postgraduates are not able to do what they are actually meant for, then there is an incompatibility. There's a contradiction. And how to deal with this? That requires interdisciplinary approach. That is what we're talking about in terms of sustainability. Now look at this. All your systems plus the supportive processes. When I'm saying supportive processes, it includes the skilling, it includes the competency, it includes the right attitude, it includes understanding things in a multidisciplinary or an interdisciplinary aspect. That is what leads to the outcomes. So that understanding should be very true when we are talking about creating systems. Now, what are we doing? Or what are higher education institutions doing? Very simple. They draw input. What is the input? Students from schools. Then what are our processes? Teaching, learning, research. Then what is the output? Graduates, postgraduates, your doctoral fellows, so on and so forth. Now, if that is the case, higher education institution is one system. Drawing students, engaging in teaching, learning, research, creating graduates and postgraduates or doctoral degree holders. Are they immediately moving into the next system with competency, with confidence, with courage, with enabling skills, empowered to do something? These graduates need continuous upskilling and lifelong learning. That is where interdisciplinary aspects come. I finished my accounting, I finished my capital market theories, but now I understand that fintech is so important. Now I understand that AI is important. Now I understand that Internet of Things is so important. Now I understand that machine learning is important. This is just one example, and this happens in all disciplines. That is the movement that we are talking about. That is the sustainability that we are talking about. And when that is happening, they get linked with other discipline. I understand that behavioral requires psychology. I understand that society is important. I understand that ESG is important. I understand that UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, is so important. That is where the linkage actually comes, and that is where we draw linkage from the systems, which is so very important. And now I'm coming to the last part. So what we have covered so far, we have covered the relevance of interdisciplinary approach, and I have covered the relevance of sustainability. Education institutions cannot sustain themselves internally by confining into disciplines as silos, externally without networking and collaborating in terms of long-term models, which is associated with the entire concept of well-being of the society, well-being of the nation. And that has got what you call micro aspects: well-being of the individual, well-being of people immediately around, well-being of people in their organization, well-being of the nation, well-being of the globe at large. Now, finally, this requires what is again referred to in EP as outcome-based education, which by and large many institutions at least claim that they have with them. The objective here is look at the outcomes that you want from the learner. What should the learner be competent to do when they finish a program, your BA, BSc, BCom or whatever, and when they finish a course in that program, what will they be able to do? And that ability or that competence does not essentially come from being segmented or being confined to one discipline. Yes, you need to have a core, you need to have a specialization, but you need to align with certain other things. That's what's referred to. Now, if you look at this model, what the learner should be able to do when they finish a program or when they finish a course is now spelled out in the curriculum. That is what I've shown here as the first quadrant. It is given in the content. Content means in your document. You look at the curriculum document, it says POs, COs. So it is spelled out there. But what about the second quadrant? Is it being pursued in your instruction? When I'm saying instruction, your assignments, your seminars, your case studies, your practicals, are you doing each of this element keeping in place the outcome? And again, what about the assessment? Your formative, your summative assessment, your end semester examination, is it all done in terms of the outcome? We need to keep our systems where not only the curriculum, the instruction and the assessment is all directed towards that outcome. And when we do that, that's what I put earlier, it requires a purposive approach in terms of linking with other disciplines where the skills and competencies demand so. When I'm designing the curriculum of accounting, if I believe that it requires an alignment with AI, I should draw it into the curriculum. I should draw it in terms of instruction and again assessment. So also when I'm designing a curriculum for language, if I believe that this course has got something to do with maybe some other elements of media, some other applications of it, certain things in cultural studies, I must link it up. And that is how it has to go. And that is how the blending has to actually take place. I'm sorry. So this is where you have to be. So the idea is to see that the person is a competent doer in whatever aspect he or she is actually dwelling. Now let us understand that there is always a what and a why in what we are doing, including this particular conference that you are attending. There is a what and there is a why. What is being discussed now? We are discussing interdisciplinary sustainable models for higher education. That is what. But why are we discussing this? unless you understand the why, the what of what is being transacted is not fully appreciated. We might talk about today, a computer science teacher says, today we are going to discuss Python. That is what? But why should we learn Python? Or an economics teacher says, today we are going to discuss monetary policy. Or a teacher in chemistry talks about polymer chemistry. But why should we learn this? That is referring to outcomes. So let us understand that the why makes the what more robust. Why, where, when. Why should I learn this? When will this find application? How will this find application? That is relational, and that requires perhaps an interdisciplinary approach. Now the model talks about Bloom's taxonomy. It says learning should pass through 3 domains, not 1 domain. First is cognition, where they receive meaningful information in their heads, in their mind. They receive information. Then they must get affected by that. They must have their perception and feelings based on that. Suppose I'm telling my students that this is how a seed sprouts, or this is how photosynthesis takes place, or this is the theory where I'm talking about the earth moving around the sun, or I'm talking about a relationship between price and demand. Now I receive this theory in me, but I have to find my perception or feeling. Is this right? I should question this. I should have critical thinking on it. And how will that happen? Only when I relate outside. One student might think it is right, another thing might think it is not right. One person might look at it in one context, another might see it in another context. That is affective domain. And that is through which they try to relate. Then they move into their psychomotor domain. They develop skills, competencies, and attitudes. In this place, this is how it works. This is how it affects this character effects. This is how this rule in history, this ruler or this Mughal king in history had these implications with his policy. So the 3 domains should actually move. That means when they get information, when they get a theory, when they get a concept, when they get a model, they should relate it with what happens outside. Lab to the field, book to the reality. And that is not uniform everywhere. The theory is uniform, but the way it affects people around, suppose I am talking about a theory even in terms of gender. The conditions under which gender theories apply, or the conditions under which culture applies, or when I am talking about how a seed sprouts, the conditions under which it sprouts is based on soil, it is based on agro conditions. Or when I am talking about diet, maybe the calorie content, the food ingredients is same, but how it affects health is based on genetics, lifestyle. So that is affective domain. And from there, they are getting skills, how to modify, how to situationalize, how to analyze, and how to use. That is psychomotor domain. So the 3 aspects are actually something what we can call as HHH, 3H. The first H would stand for your head or the mind. From there, it should go to your heart, relating, relational, situational. And that might not be the same. What has happened in Switzerland, what has happened in New Zealand, what has happened with UK, what has happened with US, China, India, what has happened in one state, what has happened in Kerala, what has happened in North India might not be same. So they understand implications, relational aspects of the same theory, of the same concept, of the same model. That is affective domain. And from there, they get the skills to put something into practice. But if this has to happen, again, when I try to relate, I understand that this has got something to do with our situation, something to do with some technology, something to do with that requires an interdisciplinary approach. So what is this? It requires cognitive domain, should move into affective domain. We need students who feel disturbed. who have got a sense of chaos, and they ask questions, they have doubts. That is solid systems of transformation in a sustainable model. If they have no doubts, if they have no questions, if they have no thinking, it means that they are not effective. That thinking comes when they look beyond the classroom, getting theories inside and looking outside. Somebody in sociology studies theories of suicide. Then when I go home in my village or from the media or from the newspapers, I understand somebody has committed suicide. Then I start thinking, why? How is it related to the theory that I'm studying? That is affective domain. And then I come back and I understand that these are the implications. I have my own perceptions and feelings. Now, heart to hand. I'm empowered to have the right thinking. I'm an empowered person to do something in a context. So cognition is head, first H. Second is your heart, affective domain. Third is your hand. Interdisciplinary, sustainable models of education requires a movement from head to heart and heart to hand, or cognition to affective and affective to psychomotor domain. So let us quickly look at it. What is cognition? You're getting knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, all happening in your mind. All happening in the classroom. You're not analyzing in real life context. You're not looking at application, but you're trying to analyze and apply in your mind. That's why we're saying head. And that happens in the classroom. But it should extend beyond this. It should move into affective domain. What is happening there? I am receiving. I am responding. Why did somebody commit suicide like this? This Shakespeare play character or this character in the poetry, has it got any resemblance to do with somebody in the society? Or this Mughal rule that I'm talking about in history, the reforms of that king, has it got something to do with real life context? Relational. Or this theory of how seeds sprout, or this theory in agriculture, or this theory of maybe keyhole surgery or robotics, has it got something to do with real life context? Responding, valuing, and then you're organizing and characterizing. That happens in the heart. And what happens finally? I have my perception. This is how this theory works. These are the conditions under which it has to be modified. These are the conditions under which it has to be situationalized. I have my guided response. Now, what am I doing? I am adapting and initiating. I am able to give life to my theory. I am able to give something which is suitable for practice in terms of my theory. That is initiation and that is hands. It is lasting. It is the final outcome of learning. It is the fitness to do what I have learned. It is the courage and convincing wisdom which I have to translate my learning into action. But this will demand breaking silos of discipline. This will demand linking with allied, purposive blending with certain other areas. This will demand a tech-embedded approach, which we are talking about in terms of interdisciplinary sustainable models. So look at this: perception, adapting, and initiating. That is the final outcome. That is the quality outcome. And that is the outcome which brings you to the next system. And that is where we are talking about sustainability. And unless you have this with you, it's very, very difficult for us to, move into the subsequent aspects of higher learning that is very important in our own domain that we actually relate to. So, yeah. So then what happens is this is again said in NEP, this is said in all forms of higher learning, experiential learning. Experiential learning is what brings us to the affective domain. Practicums, case studies, simulation, games, internship, interactions, projects, observation, any other number of methods. Unless you use some of these methods, that's where OB talks about integrating this into your learning process. They don't understand reality. They're not competent to relate. They're not able to judge situations. Or very simply, they're not able to find answers to why something is happening. And that is where interdisciplinary approaches in a sustainable format your competence to resolve, your competence to solve, your competence to courageously indulge in something actually comes from that. That is where you're talking about this interdisciplinary approach. We have to learn beyond the core areas. Again, core areas, specialization is relevant, but it must be aligned with certain other add-ons, which are very, very important. Some of which will be value-based, some of which will be well-being based, some of which will be sustainability based, some of which will be talking about responsibly including it into your curriculum so that you become a competent person to do something. This is the model that we are talking about. A portfolio and linkage. That means some core courses are definitely there. Some are the minor pathways, some are the value-added pathways, some are skill-based. Ultimately, what we want is holistic. Ability to put all your learning together in a way in which it is required for the society. And that is where you say your psychomotor domain. And that is where you put the last part, competent doer and a lifelong learner. Or yet in other words, what we are trying to talk about is institutions can keep itself alive only when you are talking about your products or your output being learners who are competent doers. If you can prove that you have competent doers, then your institution is sustainable, your organization is sustainable, your governance is sustainable. You're saying that we have competent doers who will learn lifelong and who will transform. That is your acceptability. That is what is said over here. So with this, I'm concluding. We are trying to look at knowledge in one domain and skilling, competency, attitudes with the add-ons. That is the interdisciplinary approach that we are talking about. And that is the model that we need to actually bring about. And I hope if we actually look, instead of talking very big and loud about different things which are not directly associated with the change that we aspire for, if we look at this very the basic challenge before institutions is to create this combinations, interdisciplinary combinations. And if you want, let it happen in your campus, let it happen in cluster models, let it happen in collaborative models, but you're not denying this to learners. We are not just being happy with creating degree holders. We want to move one step further, where these learners are learners who can talk about sustainable models in whatever organization they are. It can be very small organizations to very large organizations. It can be even a small micro enterprise, but they are able to create a change there. They talk about quality processes in which they indulge and how they sustain their practices. So on that count, that is where we are trying to bring in the required change, which is so important. So I once again thank all of you for this huge opportunity. I don't know how much time we have. I request all of you to apply your mind on this. Try to look at what kind of collaborations we can have. Collaborations for the purpose of interdisciplinary learning. Collaborations for the purpose of mobility of learners. Collaboration for the purpose of sustainable models, which are so important in higher education. Build that up and develop yourself into new heights. That is what I'm trying to put across as a takeaway from this. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the very best in all your future endeavors.
Thank you very much, sir, for your informative and insightful presentations. The information you have shared really emphasizes the importance of rethinking traditional academic structures to address the global challenges and the collective commitments to transferring higher education into a force for sustainable and equitable progress. And also explained how can provide encouragement for systemic change towards sustainability, particularly by adopting interdisciplinary sustainable models in education, research, and community engagements. Now the session is open for queries and for the valuable comments from the parts of participants. Dear participants, you can ask questions.
Yeah, anything which anybody would like to raise, it need not be actually something which is a matter of doubt. It can be an addition, it can be complementing, it can be supplementing, it can be an add-on. whatever is in your mind, if you have something you can share. I don't know, because we are in an online form, I'm not seeing you personally, but anything that you would like to put across based on what I have now shared, anything which you would like to add, you can do that now. Okay, if nobody has anything, then we can call it a day, because I don't know what was your uh, receptiveness to this, because if you had something, you can raise it now, otherwise we'll call it a day. Any thought from anybody who has attended this? I don't know from where you are attending and how many of you are from which place, but anybody who is attending this, any of your thoughts, any of your suggestions, anything which you would like to bring across based on the presentation, you can do that now. Okay, if there is nothing, then I especially thank the college for this opportunity. I also thank Dr. Gopika, who is the chairperson, and I hope that at least from your college side, you will do some kind of assimilation, further thinking on this. And I wish all those who are attending online and all those who are presenting papers to do it with some kind of a thought on what will happen with this, why I'm doing this, and what is actually the purpose behind this. So be purposive in your approach. Thank you so much.
We shall move forward to conclude the session. As we come to the close of the session, I wish to convey our sincere appreciation to Professor Simon Tattil for his enlightening and engaging presentation. His address has reminded us about how interdisciplinary thinking can reshape our pedagogical practices, institutional frameworks, and research paradigms. On behalf of the organizers, I extend my heartfelt thanks to our eminent speaker, the participants, and all those who have contributed to the success of this program. Once again, I thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you, and best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Gabriel Simon, for your insightful talk on interdisciplinary approaches for sustainable model and higher education. Your ideas on combining different fields to build sustainable education models were truly inspiring. We also extend our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed chair, Dr. Gobigaji, for the presiding over this session with such grace and providing us with valuable guidance. Now let me invite Ms. Maria Tom, Assistant Professor, Department of Social Work, to deliver the vote of thanks for this session.
A very good afternoon to all. It's my privilege and honor to deliver the vote of our e-conference organized by St. Mary's College, Puthanangadi, in collaboration with Catholic University, Our Lady of Good Counsel, Albania. First and foremost, on the behalf of organizing committee and all the participants, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Professor Dr. Gabriel Simon, for his enlightening and thought-provoking presentation. Sir, your deep knowledge, valuable insight, and engaging delivery have truly enriched this session. A special word of appreciation goes to the chair of this session, Dr. Gopika, Assistant Professor, St. Mary's College, Puthanangadi. And I would like to thank our principal, faculty members, organizing committee, and technical support team, and all the participants. Once again, heartfelt thanks to everyone who contribute to the success. Thank you all and have a wonderful day.
Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the conclusion of this session. We will now move on to the next session of the conference, which is the paper presentation session. We request all the participants to kindly proceed to the virtual room for the presentation. We will begin shortly.
Tunguri on the 17th June 1996. Initially, the college offered pre-degree courses privately, and in the succeeding years, the institution marked its presence with private studies in BA History, BA Economics, BSc Maths, BA English, and BCom. Sister Udaya of CMC of first batch secured first rank in BA History. Many students have obtained ranks in various streams, and the recent achiever is Srilakshmi B, as she bagged the first rank in MA English during the academic year of 2016-18. We have trained security guard who can observe the students and help them around when they are not being taught in class or after college hours. Our campus spreads across about 11 acres situated near Angadipuram in the Malappuram district of Kerala. The college has the easy accessibility of both the road and the railways. The college campus is refreshingly green with beautiful gardens which provide a shady ambience to the premises. The college has a well-designed administrative block. Our administration block includes the principal's room, guest room, college administrative office, visitors lounge, examination section, and so on. Both the students and parents can approach the office for their admissions, fees payment, student scholarship, student registration, and all other educational needs. We are committed to maintain and enhance our biodiversity through appropriate environmental management techniques. It is true to its foundational vision and mission to develop the college as a unique institution recognized globally for its excellence and innovation, equipping the students to venture out into the competitive world
We will begin the session shortly. Rules and regulations during the paper presentations. Participants, please listen. The time limit for each presentation is 7 minutes. This will be followed by a short discussion for 2 to 3 minutes. You can expect questions from the judging panel and from the audience. Please take care not to exceed the time to keep our session on schedule. The moderator will coordinate the session and will act as a vigilant timekeeper. The participants are requested to present their paper in PPT format and please take care to join in the name format prescribed. In case of any technical issues or delay from the participant during the presentation, for the time being, we will move on to the next participant. But don't get panicked. You will be given another chance for the presentation and the time will be informed personally. We have a panel of eminent judges here and their judgment will be final. Here are some information for the audience. Audience, you are allowed to ask questions during the discussion after each presentation and please put your question to the chat box. Ensure that the questions are respectful. We will not advocate disrespectful questioning. For the audience to get a participation certificate, you are requested to fill the feedback form which will be provided towards the end of the session. We are beginning the paper presentation for day 1. Let me invite the chair for the session, Mrs. Shonima Das CK. She has been serving as an assistant professor and head of the Department of Computer Science at St. Mary's College since 2015. With a strong academic foundation and a passion for advancing technology education, she completed her Master of Computer Application from the prestigious University of Calicut. Over the past decade, Shonima has played a pivotal role in shaping the department's academic vision, mentoring students, and fostering a culture of innovation and inquiry. Her leadership has been instrumental in integrating emerging technologies into the curriculum and promoting interdisciplinary research. Shonima's area of interest include software engineering, data science, and educational technology. She actively participates in academic forums and conferences, contributing insights into curriculum development and pedagogical strategies in computer science education. Wholeheartedly, I welcome Ms. Shonima to chair the session. Ma'am, your voice is not audible. Participants, please wait. We have a technical delay.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. Please proceed.
Sorry for the delay. A warm good afternoon, all of you. Esteemed guests, dignitaries, academicians, paper presenters of the day. Welcome to the first session of International E-Conference. I'm deeply honored and grateful to have been appointed as chair for the International Conference on Innovations for Sustainable Future, Bridging Science, Society and Policy. I would like to express my sincere thanks to the college management and the team behind the International Youth Conference for giving me this opportunity. It's a privilege to lead and contribute to this esteemed event, which brings together experts and professionals from around the world to discuss and advance sustainability initiatives. Thank you for entrusting me with this responsibility. I look forward to working with the team and participants to make this conference a success and a valuable experience for all involved. I invite everyone to ask questions and actively participate. Let's make this session lively and interactive. Without any further delay, I would like to call upon our first presenters, Ms. Rashmi S.R. and Shruti K., who will be presenting a paper on AI-driven personalized learning through gamification for sustainable development. Ma'am, welcome to this presentation, and I request you to unmute your audio and share your screen.
Okay, ma'am.
Ms. Shruti?
Is it audible, ma'am? Yes. Is it audible?
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Shruti,
Hello, ma'am.
please unmute your audio.
Yeah, I unmuted the audio, ma'am. Is it audible?
Please share your screen, ma'am.
Okay. Ma'am, is it
Ma'am.
visible?
Your Ma'am, your voice is very low.
Ma'am, is it visible?
Screen is visible, ma'am.
Okay, shall I start?
Ma'am, please raise your voice.
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me? Hello, ma'am.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Shall I start this?
Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. You can start now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Shruti K., Assistant Professor at Vedavyasa College of Arts and Science, Malappuram. This paper is prepared with my co-author, Dr. Rashmi S.R., Assistant Professor at KNCT College of Engineering, Kozhikode. Our paper is titled AI-Driven Personalized Learning Through Gamification for Sustainable Development. So let's begin with our introduction. In traditional classrooms, all students are taught in the same way and at the same pace. This often leaves many students behind. Artificial intelligence can solve this problem. It gives each student a personal learning path, feedback, and support. Gamification makes learning more fun and exciting. Points, badges, and challenges keep students motivated. When we combine AI with gamification, learning becomes both adaptive and engaging. This helps every student learn better. This approach also supports the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4, That goal focuses on ensure quality education for all. Here we look at the problem. In today's classroom, teaching is the same for everyone. Students are expected to move at the same pace, which creates lack of interest and disengagement. Many students have different learning needs and styles, but the current system does not adjust to these differences. Digital learning tools are often used. However, without interactive features, they do not motivate students. Because of these issues, there is a strong need for systems that are inclusive, fair, and scalable. Now let's look at the objective of the study. The first objective is to explore how AI can help in personalized learning. The second objective is to examine how gamification strategies can improve motivation and engagement. Next, the third objective is to study the combined effect of AI and gamification. Another objective is to identify best practices for adaptive learning. This helps teachers and policymakers design better systems. Finally, we align our approach with Sustainable Development Goal 4, which ensures quality education for all. Now, moving on to the research methodology. This study is analytical and based on literature review. We did not collect primary data. The sources we used include IEEE, Springer, and the Journal of Educational Data Mining. We also look at the case studies. We focused only on studies from 2020 to 2025. These covered AI in education, gamification, and SDG 4 alignment. We identified AI techniques like clustering, predictive analytics, and recommendation engines. These are used to make learning adaptive. We also studied gamification impacts such as points, badges, leaderboards, and challenges. These features support motivation. Real-world platforms like Duolingo, Dreambox, and Gymkit were also analyzed. They give us examples of AI and gamification in action. Next, look at the limitations and scope of the study. Our study is based on the literature and does not use primary data. We also depend only on research published between 2020 and 2025. This may limit our findings. The case studies are also limited to selected platforms like case studies. We did not cover all possible tools. The scope of our study focuses on AI-driven personalized learning with gamification. It connects this approach with SDG 4. Our results can be useful for teachers, policymakers, and technology developers. They can apply these findings in education. Now let us see the data results. First, results from case studies. Duolingo is a popular app for learning languages. It uses AI to create personal learning paths and add points, badges, and adaptive challenges. These features keep learners motivated and consistent. Dreambox Learning is designed for maths education. It adjusts problem sets dynamically for each student and provides instant feedback. This helps students improve their understanding of concepts step by step. Gymkit is a classroom quiz platform. It turns lessons into interactive games, where students earn points and rewards while answering questions. This creates high participation, fun, and excitement during classes. These case studies show how AI and gamification were
Hello, ma'am. You are not audible, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Shruti, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. Shall I start? Hello, ma'am.
Ma'am, you are not audible.
Is it okay now?
Ma'am, please continue.
Okay, now let us say the data results. First results from the case study. Duolingo is a popular app for learning languages. It uses AI to create personal learning paths and adds points, badges, and adaptive challenges. These features keep learners motivated and consistent. Dreambox Learning is designed for math education. It adjusts problem sets dynamically for each student and provides instant feedback. GymKit is a classroom quiz platform. It turns lessons into interactive games where students earn points and rewards while answering questions. Hello? Hello? Hello, ma'am. Is it audible?
Please wait.
Hello? Shall I continue?
Yes, you can.
From this case series, we can see some emerging patterns. AI supports personalization through clustering and predictive analytics. It studies student performance and then creates adaptive learning paths that suit each learner. Gamification adds features like points, badges, and leaderboards. These small rewards make learning feel fun and keep students interested for a longer time. AI also gives teachers real-time insights through data analytics. With this, teachers can quickly find who needs extra help and provide the right support at the right time. These patterns show the gamification are not just useful but truly necessary for future classrooms. Here are the key findings of our study. We found that the combination of AI and gamification improves motivation and engagement. Students show more interest in learning when lessons are adaptive and fun. Learning outcomes also become better. Students retain knowledge longer, solve problems more effectively, and complete tasks with more confidence. Teacher benefits as well with AI-driven insights. They can understand student progress in real time and provide timely support. Most importantly, AI with gamification promotes inclusivity and equity. It gives every learner a fair chance and support. The United Nations goal of quality education. Next, based on our findings, we would like to suggest some actions. First, schools and colleges should adopt AI-driven gamified tools. These tools can make learning more engaging and effective. Second, teachers should receive training to understand and use AI insights. This will help them apply technology correctly in classrooms. Third, inclusivity and equal access must be ensured. Every student, regardless of background, should get the chance to benefit. Fourth, ethical issues must be addressed. Data privacy and fairness in algorithms are very important for trust in the system. Fifth, investment in digital infrastructure is needed. Good internet and devices will make it easier to use AI tools widely. Finally, we suggest promoting lifelong learning and sustainability awareness. Education should prepare students not just for exams but for future challenges. Now let us conclude the presentation. AI and gamification together create a powerful approach to modern education. They make learning more engaging, more personal, and more enjoyable. This approach also improves equity and quality. Every student, regardless of their pace or style, gets a chance to succeed. Teachers are also supported with real-time insights. This allows them to guide students more effectively. At the same time, we must be careful about challenges such as data privacy, algorithmic bias, and access of technology. These issues must be managed responsibly. Overall, AI with gamification supports sustainable development goals 4. It can transform education into an inclusive, adaptive, and sustainable system. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, Shruti ma'am. Now this session is open for queries. Participants, please ask questions. If no queries, I am continuing with the Shruti ma'am. Ma'am. Sorry, she may lost her connection. Now I am continuing with the next participant. Mr. Alan, are you ready? Mr. Alan, Alex.
Yes, ma'am, I am ready. Let me start.
Please raise your voice, Alan.
May I start? Am I audible? May I start?
Yes. Welcome to this presentation.
Okay, good afternoon.
Yes, your screen is visible, but your voice is very low.
Okay, excuse me. Okay, now it's full volume. Okay, good afternoon. And first of all, let me continue.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay. My topic is sustainable economic strategies for resource allocation optimization through AI. Let me introduce myself. I am Alan Alex, and I am doing my research. And first of all, let me thank Thank St. Mary's College for giving me such an opportunity. And as an introduction, the studies, in addition to land, labor, capital, and organization, The technology plays a vital role in enhancing the efficiency of resource management, and technological advancements and their applications across various sectors, particularly in ecological domains, have increasingly directed attention towards sustainability. So, these innovations not only enhance operational efficiency but also contribute to the responsible management of natural resources, thereby promoting long-term environmental balance and sustainable development. So the studies on resource allocations have primarily focused on identifying the cause of backwardness and inefficiencies in the management of available resources. Then the promotion of technologies, particularly advancements in AI, can significantly influence decision making related to the use of environmental resources. And the statement of the problem: today's global economy, nations and organizations face increasing pressure to balance economic growth with sustainability goals. Traditional resource allocation methods often suffer from inefficiency, overutilization, and inequitable distribution, leading to challenges such as environmental degradation, social inequality, and economic instability. So, in AI offers transformative potential for optimizing resource allocation by analyzing large data sets, predicting demand patterns, and identifying efficient, equitable, and eco-friendly solutions. Therefore, there is a pressing need to investigate how AI-driven models can be efficiently applied to design and implement sustainable economic strategies that optimize resource allocation, minimize waste, and promote social and environmental well-being. An objective is to know how AI improves efficient resource allocation for sustainable development and to identify AI's role in resource use for sustainable environmental and economic outcomes. Methodology: it employs a quantitative and qualitative approaches to analysis, follow descriptive analytic nature with original data, aiming to uncover patterns, relationships, and impacts. Mainly, the explanations are dealing with the theme of sustainability in the pattern of technical advancements. And the statistical tools to apply the study: the climate change is the environment and is accelerating in its impacts are widespread, affecting the ecosystems, economies, and communities worldwide. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the average global temperature could rise by 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels by as early as 2030 if current emissions trend continue. Climate change is projected to have substantial economic impacts on all nations, with lower income countries being especially invaluable to its risk. The UNEP Global Climate Legislation Report 2023 States Review highlights the significance of establishing an environmental rule of law to address the intertwined crisis of climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. And here we can see the annual average values of air pollutants at major maintaining stations in residential area of Kerala. The bar graph shows the annual average values of three major air pollutants. So, nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide and RSPM, both major monitoring stations in residential areas of Kerala for the year 2023. It also includes the prescribed limits for each pollutant as a reference point. Then the air pollution is only one aspect of the environmental degradation. Similarly, threats arise from the depletion of soil, noise pollution, and contamination of land and water, all of which endanger our secure existence of this planet. Then the graph shows the annual CO2 emissions from India due to the burning of fossil fuels for energy and cement production, spanning from 1850 to 2020. From 1850 to around 1950, India's CO2 emissions remained extremely low, well under 100 million tons. This reflects a predominantly agrarian economy with minimal industry activity. Between 1950 and 1980, emissions began to gradually increase. So the sustainable sustainable environmental management. So AI, particularly machine learning and deep learning algorithms, can promote large data sets to identify patterns, forecasts, and needs to make adaptive decisions. When integrated into economic planning, these tools to offer new capabilities in optimizing input-output ratios, minimizing waste, and improving operational efficiencies. Here, the above table highlights the significant financial allocation towards technological advancements, even with the specific region of Kerala. The Kerala State IT Mission is an autonomous nodal agency responsible for implementing IT initiatives on behalf of the Department of Information Technology, Government of Kerala. So, however, it is essential to ensure that these funds are efficiently utilized to foster technological development that supports environmental sustainability with a special focus on integrating AI and automation in environmental management. Then the applications in the first level
Alan,
energy.
sir?
Yes.
May I interrupt you?
Yes.
Your slide is not changing.
Yes, it's changing. Now applications of AI in resource optimization, isn't it?
No, sir.
Is,
It's on the
huh?
first slide. It's on the master slide.
Sorry, some technical issues. Now I am presenting that side slide.
Still that problem exists, sir.
Okay, may I continue?
You have to change the slides.
I am changing, but it is not visible there.
Yes.
I am changing here and I am sharing my screen.
But only that master slide is visible.
Then I don't know what's happening.
Will you please restart the presentation?
Okay, 1 minute. Now is it okay?
No, sir.
Sorry, I am sharing and I am changing the slide, but it is not visible there. I don't know what's the technical issues.
Shall we need to present the slide from here?
Okay, you may present.
1 minute, sir.
Okay.
Sir, your slide number? Which slide you are presenting now?
I am presenting 10th slide.
10th slide.
Yes.
I think that problem is solved.
It's not my slide. Madam, it's not my slide.
Sorry, sir. Sorry. 1 minute.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes, correct. May I continue?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the applications of AI in resource optimization. First of all, the energy management. In the smart grids and AI-based demand prediction system allow for better energy distribution and reduced power loss. For example, predictive models can adjust supply based on weather forecast and usage patterns and agriculture resource use. Precision agriculture uses AI to optimize irrigation, fertilization, and harvesting, thus reducing input costs and environmental damage. AI also helps monitor crop health and predict yield, facilitating better planning. And urban planning and infrastructure, AI models can assist in designing efficient transport system, waste management, and water distribution networks. Tools like geographical information system integrated with AI help cities manage pollution, population growth, sustainability. Supply chain and manufacturing, predictive analytics optimize inventory management, production scheduling, and logistics, reducing material waste and energy consumption. AI systems support circular economy models by tracking product life cycle. Then some benefits. It's a transformative role in improving resource management by enhancing efficiency and reducing wastage. And there are some challenges and limitations. Despite its potential, the implications of AI comes with several challenges that need careful consideration. One major concern is data privacy and bias, as AI systems rely heavily on data that may be incomplete or biased, leading to unfair or inequitable outcomes. Some suggestions. While AI offers immense potential for advancement, its implementation is accompanied by several critical challenges that requires thoughtful attention. A key issue is data privacy and bias, as AI systems depend on vast data sets that may be flawed or biased, potentially resulting in unfair outcomes. As a conclusion, in a world marked by infinite resource and infinite wants, efficient resource allocation becomes paramount. Classical economic theories have long emphasized the importance of optimizing resource use to ensure sustainable development. As we transition toward a digital and green economy, AI can be both a catalyst and a guide in ensuring long-term prosperity and sustainability. Madam, let me conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. Now this platform is open for queries. If anyone want to ask the question, please may ask. Alan, sir,
Yes.
may I ask you a question?
Okay. Please ask.
What are some challenges in using AI for managing environmental and economic resources?
And some of the major challenges, if in the case of the data analysis, if we are not getting the correct data, the previous or about the traditional methods, we cannot apply properly in the case of, especially in the resource management, and we will not get the proper outcomes for this. First of all, the unavailability of data and the lack of traditional normally in the traditional way we are implementing so many systems for resource management. When we come to the modern world or while using technology, the first of all the ethical consideration and some practical way for in the case of some unexpected outcomes or the natural calamities or any other things is happening, is very difficult to apply. That is the limitations.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, sir. This presentation was so good. Thank you for the participation.
Thank you very much.
Next, I would like to call Ms. Dilna AP for presenting the paper.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. You are audible now.
Okay.
You can share your screen now.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, can I start?
Yes, ma'am. You can start now.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry. I'm Dilna from PG Department of Computer Science, Noble Women's College, Mancheri. Today, I will be presenting my paper titled AI-Powered E-Waste Sorting Systems for Sustainable Recycling as part of this International Conference on Innovations for a Sustainable Future. Let's move to the intro. In today's world, technology is evolving rapidly, leading to the massive growth of electronic devices like smartphones, laptops, and home appliances. But along with this growth comes a major problem: electronic waste or e-waste. According to the global statistics, in 2022, around 62 million tons of e-waste were generated, yet only 22% was recycled. The rest is often dumped in landfills or burned, releasing toxic substances that harm both the environment and human health. While e-waste contains valuable metals like gold, copper, it also has toxic elements like lead and mercury. Our current recycling system is manual dismantling is unsafe and slow, while large robotic systems are too expensive for small recycling centers. So the gap is clear. Small towns need an affordable, safe, and efficient solution. So our proposed system aims to fill that gap using AI, sensors, and robotics. And the problem can be summarized in 3 key points. And the first is rapid growth of e-waste and the low recycling rate. And the second is hazardous health and environmental impacts due to toxins. And the third one is inefficient and unsafe recycling methods that are inaccessible to smaller centers. Therefore, there is an urgent need for a low-cost, scalable, and safe AI-based e-waste sorting system that small and medium recycling units can use. And next, objectives of the study. The objectives of the study are to develop a low-cost AI-powered sorting system suitable for small recycling centers and to improve sorting accuracy for metals, plastics, and hazardous components using computer vision and sensors, and to enhance worker safety by reducing direct contact with toxic waste. And next, to promote sustainability through energy efficient and possibly solar powered system design. And finally, to encourage open source data sets and policy supports for wider adoption. Next, the research followed a design-based research approach combining simulation, prototype development, and comparative analysis. First, during simulation, an AI model was trained using large data set of e-waste images, including plastics, metals, and circuit boards. This helped improve accuracy and reliability before actual testing. And next, the second design is a prototype was built using a conveyor belt for movement and a camera for image inspection and the sensors for magnetic and weight detection.
Dilna?
Yes.
Your video is not visible.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now it's okay.
And next, comparative analysis. The third one is comparative analysis. The AI-powered sorting system is compared with the manual sorting based on sorting accuracy, processing speed, energy efficiency, worker safety. And the AI model used convolutional neural networks and transfer learning techniques like ResNet and MobileNet were used for classification. To improve reliability, sensor fusion was applied, and combining camera predictions with the sensor data. Next, the statistical tools applied in the study. We used descriptive statistic to summarize the result, and next the comparative analysis is used to evaluate performance, and the visualization tools like bar and line charts to show trends, and the performance was measured in terms of accuracy, precision, and recall. Limitations and scope. Prototype tested on small scale setup. This study was conducted on a small scale prototype, so large scale results may vary. Accuracy also depends on the quality and variety of the image dataset. However, the system's design is flexible and it can be scaled up for the rural and semi-urban centers, making it practical for developing regions. And the data results were highly encouraging. In the case of sorting accuracy, manual sorting achieved around 65%, while the AI system reached over 90% accuracy, and it's a huge improvement. In the case of processing speed, manual workers could handle about 200 items per hour, whereas the AI system processed around 700 items per hour, making it about 3 times faster. And in terms of material recovery, the system was able to recover metals like copper, gold more efficiently, and also separate plastics for reuse, supporting the circular economy. And when it comes to worker safety, the AI system minimizes direct contact with sharp or toxic components. Workers only need to monitor and maintain the machine. And finally, in terms of sustainability, the system consumes less energy and can be powered by solar panels, reducing its carbon footprint. Next, findings and suggestions. The findings clearly show that AI-powered e-waste sorting improves accuracy, speed, safety, and efficiency. Based on the suggestions, I would like to suggest promoting open source datasets for better AI training, providing government support and subsidies for small recycling centers, and using IoT integration, adopting 3D printed robotics parts to reduce cost, and expanding AI capabilities to identify hazardous versus non-hazardous materials. And to conclude, e-waste is one of the fastest growing waste streams in the world. Traditional recycling is unsafe, costly, and inefficient. The proposed AI-powered e-waste sorting systems offers a practical, low-cost, and sustainable solution, and it achieves high accuracy, faster processing, improved safety and energy efficiency while promoting circular economy principles. With proper policy support and research collaboration, the system could transform e-waste recycling, especially in smaller communities, in smaller area. Okay. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, ma'am. Your topic is so relevant in this era.
Yes.
And your paper discusses how electronic waste is growing rapidly and causing serious health and environmental problems.
Yes.
Now the session is open for queries. Does anyone want to ask the question? If no one is ready, may I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the main goal of using AI in e-waste recycling?
Because we need AI in sorting area. In sorting, there will be different type of metals, plastics, PCBs, like etc. And we need an in manual sorting, it is harmful to human being. So we use AI to sort the things.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, ma'am.
We are moving on with next participant. Ms. Gopika TK. Ms. Gopika.
ma'am. Hello.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay.
You can share your screen now. Ma'am,
Yes.
screen is not visible.
Is it visible?
Now it's okay.
Is it visible?
Yes, now it's okay.
Okay.
You may start now.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Gopika and I am second year MSc Computer Science student at Noble Women's College, Mancheri. Today, I am here to present my paper on the future of computing, powering more with zero energy. In this presentation, I will discuss what is powering more with zero energy, why zero power computing important for a sustainable future, and objectives, its methodologies and limitations and scopes.
Ma'am, before starting presentation, you have to switch on your video.
Okay.
Okay.
First of all, introduction. First of all, what is powering more with zero energy? In this future of computing, focuses on doing more work with little or no energy. Today, computers and gadgets use a lot of electricity, which harms the environment. Zero power computing is new idea where devices can work by using energy from the surroundings like sunlight, body heats, or radio waves. These smart devices don't need batteries or chargings. The scientists use circuits and energy harvesting technology to make this possible. It will create self-powered sensors, smart watches, and eco-friendly systems for health, space, and cities. This is a big step forward a green and sustainable future.
Gopika.
Yes.
Still in the master slide.
Yes, wait. Then zero power computing emerges as an innovative paradigm that addresses these challenges. Instead of depending solely on external power supplies, these systems operate by harvesting energy from their surroundings. Ambient energy sources such as solar radiations, thermal gradients, mechanical vibrations, and radio frequency waves can be converted into usable power, enabling devices to function autonomously for extended periods by integrated ultra-low power circuiting design, advanced nanomaterials, and intelligent power management strategies. Zero power computing promises to reduce carbon footprints, extend devices lifetime, and foster sustainable digital ecosystems. Okay, then next moving statement of the problem. The exponential growth of computing devices has created seriously energy challenges. Conventional systems depend primarily on wired electricity and rechargeable batteries. Um, they suffer from limited lifespans, frequent recharging needs, and costly replacements. More critically, billions of discards batteries contribute to electronic waste, which poses environmental hazards due to toxic chemicals and non-biodegradable materials. Mm, Thus, the problem lies in the unsustainable dependence on conventional power sources for computing. Without a paradigm shift towards self-sustaining ultra-low power systems, the future expansion of digital technology will remain constrained by energy availability, maintenance requirements, and environmental impacts. Mm, Next, moving objectives of study. The study explore and highlight the potential of zero power computing. That is to examine the principles of zero power computing, its role in reducing energy dependency in computing systems, to analyze energy harvesting techniques such as solar, thermal, mechanical, and radio frequency sources for powering devices, to evaluate enabling technologies, including ultra low power circuits, nanomaterials, and powering management strategies. Next to investigate application of zero power computing in IoT, healthcare, environmental monitoring, and smart cities. um, to identify benefits, challenges, and limitations associated with adopting this paradigm. Next, research methodology. First one is literature review. It's collect and review existing research papers, journals, and conference proceeding on ultra low power computing and energy harvesting technologies. It's identify knowledge gaps and energy trends. Next is technology assessment. Examine enabling technologies such as nanomaterials, MEMS, ultra low power processors, and energy harvesting modules. Analyze their roles in enhancing the feasibility of zero power computing. Next, comparative analysis. Compare conventional battery powered system with a zero power system in terms of energy efficiency, lifespan, cost, and environmental impact. Next, application study. Investigate case studies and real-world applications in IoT, healthcare, environmental monitoring, and smart cities. Evaluate the practical benefits and challenges in different domains. Next, analytical framework. It's energy consumption reduction, carbon footprint minimization, and device longevity. Next is use the statistical tools applied in the study. First is comparative analysis, comparing energy consumption of conventional device versus zero power systems. Second one is descriptive statistics, using averages, percentages, and ratios to present power savings, devices lifetimes, and reduction in electronic waste. Next, efficient ratios, calculating power efficiency ratios, that is used to measure performance. Trend analysis, study in growth trends of IoT devices, and they're projecting the benefits of adopting zero power technologies at scale. Next, sustainable indicators, estimating reduction, carbon footprints, energy demand, and e-waste through adoption of zero power computing. Next is limitations and scope of the study. Limitations. First is limitations. First one is technological constraints. Current energy harvesting methods, example is solar, RF vibration, thermal, have low efficiency. Environmental dependence. Performance depends on ambient conditions. Example, solar needs sunlight, signal presence. Next one is limited power output. Zero power computing is sustainable only for low power devices that cannot yet support high performance computing systems. Next one, high initial costs, development and integration nanomaterials and specialized ultra low power circuits require significant investment. Next is limited case studies, practical large scales deployments is still in early stages, so available data is restricted. Next is scope. The scope is Internet of Things, it's IoT. Billions of sensors and devices can benefit from zero operation. It's reducing battery waste and maintenance. Next, healthcare monitoring. Healthcare, it's wearable and implantable medical devices can enable to continuous patient monitoring without frequent recharging. Next, environmental monitoring. Autonomous sensors can function in remote, harsh, or inaccessible areas for years. Next, smart infrastructure and cities. Self-sustaining traffic lights, meters, and surveillance systems can lower energy demand. Then, sustainable development supports green technology adoption. It reduces carbon footprint and contribute to long-term digital sustainability. Then it's then moving on. Next slide, data results. First one is energy harvesting potential. It's solar energy, thermal gradients, mechanical vibration, radio frequency signals. The solar energy can generate up to several milliwatts. Thermal gradients is effective in industrial machines or human body heat. It's generating microwatts to milliwatts. Next, mechanical vibrations from vehicles, machinery, or foodstuffs. It's widely used to means based energy harvesters. Next is radio frequency signals harvesting ambient signals from Wi-Fi mobile towers and RFID systems. Next is device lifespan comparison. It's conventional IoT sensors. It's battery powered. 6 to 18 months lifespan before battery replacement. Zero power IoT sensor energy harvesting 5 to 10 years lifespan. Next is environmental impact, reduction in electronic waste, potential elimination of billions of discarded batteries annually. Next, reduction in carbon footprints, projected 30 to 40% less energy demand for large scale IoT deployments. Next is finding and suggestions. Findings is feasibility of zero power computing. Its current advance in nanometers and ultra low power circuits, it makes technically possible. Next, extended device lifespan. Its energy harvesting devices can last 5 to 10 minutes, 10 times longer than battery powered ones. Sustainable benefits, reduction in carbon footprints and the electronic waste is minimizing battery usage, wide application potential. It's particularly impactful in IoT, healthcare, environmental monitoring, and smart infrastructure. Scalability, billions of devices can operate autonomously, reducing maintenance and cost large of deployments. Next is suggestions. Increasing research and development. It's more funding for improving efficiency of energy harvesting technologies, hybrid power solutions, next policy and industry support. The governments and industries should encourage green technology adoption through incentives. Next, standardization, establish global standards for energy harvesting modules and zero power systems. Next, awareness and collaboration. It's promote collaboration between academia, industry, and policy makers to accelerate adoption. Then it's concluding. It's concluding. In this study, show zero power computing has immense potential in domains like IoT, healthcare, environmental monitoring, and smart cities, where billions of devices can operate continuously with little no more maintenance. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gopika. I think your paper explores new concept in technology, zero power computing.
Yes.
We're going straight to the question. How can communities benefit from the zero energy ecosystem?
Please repeat.
How can communities benefit from the zero energy ecosystem? One concept is the ZEE.
Yes, yes.
What do you mean by that term, and how it is benefit for the communities?
It's zero power. That is it's zero power computing. It reduces need for batteries and external electricity by using energy from the environment, like solar, heat, or vibration. It helps energy consumption decrease electronic waste, leads to greener, more eco-friendly digital systems.
Okay. What do you think about zero power computing help reduce electronic waste?
Yes.
How it's possible? Okay, thank you. Next, I would like to call Mamta Bharadraj. Yes, Mamta.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. You can start your video and share your screen. Yes, Mamta. Yes, Mamta. Am I audible? You are not audible.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I am Mamta Bhardwaj, a research scholar from Indira Gandhi University, Mirpur, Rewari. Actually, there is some technical issue with my system, so I would request the team to play my PPT on my behalf, and I'll present the same.
Yes.
Yeah. So the topic I'll be talking about today is eye tracking technologies and applications, a sustainable perspective. In simple terms, we will explore how our eyes and where we look can drive smarter, safer, and more inclusive technologies for the future. So can we please move on to the introduction slide? Yeah. So eye tracking is fascinating because it gives us a window into what people pay attention to, what we see, how long we focus, and how we react. Think about it, from cars that monitor driver fatigue to VR headsets that respond to your gaze, eye tracking is everywhere. But most studies talk only about one area, like just healthcare or just gaming. My goal was to bring all of this together to look across multiple domains and see the bigger picture. Can we please move on to the next slide? Statement of the problem. The problem is research so far has been pretty fragmented. One study talks about eye tracking in education, another about driving, another about disabilities, but very few connect the dots. So I asked myself, what if we looked at all of these pictures together? That's where this paper steps in to offer a comprehensive cross domain perspective. Next, please. Next slide, please. Objectives of the study. I had 4 simple objectives. First, to review the key research done over the last 17 years, that is 50 studies in total. Second, to classify them, who studied what and how. Third, to identify where the gaps are, what is missing or unexplored. And lastly, to find the directions the field is heading in, especially from a sustainability and inclusivity point of view. Now, if I'll talk about the research methodology, I didn't run experiments myself. Instead, I analyzed others' work systematically. I went through papers from IEEE, ACM, Springer, and other major sources. Each paper was evaluated using 13 key factors, things like methodology, data set, and tools. And yes, Excel was my best friend here. That's where I coded, categorized, and compared all the findings to pull out meaningful patterns. Next, please. If I talk about the statistical tools, numbers help tell the story. So I used descriptive statistics, mainly charts, tables, and trend lines to visualize how research evolved over time. For example, which year saw the most publications, what methods were trending, and how the focus shifted across domains. It really helped me see the evolution of eye tracking research, quite literally. Now, moving on to the limitations and the scope of the study. Of course, every study has its limits, and I wanted to be transparent about that. Many existing studies use small participant groups, often less than 15 people, and mostly in lab settings. Devices are still bulky and not something you would wear comfortably all day. And the algorithms, they often work well only on specific setups. So, while the scope of my paper covered 5 major domains, healthcare, automotive, education, assistive technology, and VR AR, there is still a lot of room for improvement. Now, I'll talk about the data results. Now, when I looked at all 50 papers, a few clear trends popped up. First, the hardware is changing. We have moved from those heavy infrared devices to wearable and webcam based systems. Second, AI and deep learning are now doing the heavy lifting. They can predict gaze without complex calibration. And third, researchers are combining gaze with other input like voice and gesture, making systems more natural and accessible. If I'll talk about the key findings, one exciting shift I noticed is a move toward real time gaze tracking, even on mobile devices. What used to need a lab can now be done on a phone or a VR headset. Methodologically, most studies rely on machine learning, and we are seeing more hybrid approaches where gaze combines with other interaction modes. There is a big leap toward making this technology usable in the real world. Similarly, beyond the technology, the human insights are equally powerful. Eye tracking can reveal attention, fatigue, and even early signs of neurological disorders. For instance, gaze behavior can help detect Alzheimer's or Parkinson's at early stages. And when we talk about applications, it's huge: healthcare, driving safety, adaptive education, and even eye control devices for the people with mobility challenges. Next, please. Next, please. I'm on the fifth point. So, different studies use different matrices to interpret the gaze data. For example, how long you fixate on an object shows attention. How your eyes move shows scanning behavior. Pupil dilation shows stress or emotion. And something as simple as dwell time, how long you gaze, stays still, can actually trigger an action in assistive devices. So, our eyes really are doing the clicking and typing for us. Next, please. But let's also be realistic. These are the challenges. Devices are still not lightweight enough for everyday use. Sample sizes are small, often involving only students or specific age groups. Many studies happen in controlled labs, so they don't always reflect real world behavior. And there is a growing concern about privacy and consent. Eye data can reveal emotions and intentions, so ethical frameworks are essential moving forward. Now, if I'll talk about the suggestions and the future directions, so what next for this field? First, smaller, more comfortable wearables. Imagine smart glasses with built-in tracker. Second, models that can adapt across devices and users without recalibration. Third, combining gaze with voice, gestures, or even brain signals for richer interaction. And lastly, we need real world, long term studies and strong ethical standards. The future is about making eye tracking more human centered, inclusive, private, and accessible. So, if I'll conclude this to wrap up, eye tracking is the evolving fast, driven by AI, miniaturization, and accessibility needs. We are moving from expensive lab systems to affordable, real world applications. But for true sustainability, we need to bridge technology with ethics, inclusivity, and human values. This study, I believe, provides a roadmap for that, guiding the next generation of intelligent and responsible gaze detection system. Thank you so much for listening. I would be happy to take your questions or hear your thoughts, especially if you have seen eye tracking being used in interesting ways. Thank you very much.
Mamta,
Yes, ma'am.
you have shared a detailed overview of comprehensive review paper on eye tracking research from
Yes, ma'am.
2000 to 2024.
Yeah, actually, ma'am, it is a review paper. I have reviewed 50 papers from last 17 years. And as per my understanding, I have concluded the results.
Yes, you discovered technologies, methodologies, and interaction styles, applications, and future directions also.
Yes, ma'am.
So, how has deep learning influenced eye tracking technology?
Sorry, ma'am. Can you please repeat?
Deep learning influenced eye tracking technology.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, deep learning has a major influence on eye tracking technology, as through deep learning and machine learning, which is a part of machine learning, we can get the benefit of eye tracking technologies. For example, as I told you, in the previous time, in the past years, we were using bulky devices and the tracking was not possible. It was not that much accurate. Now, with the deep learning algorithms, we can detect the gaze, and we can use various matrices and the parameters like gaze detection, the pupil dilation, and many more to have the accurate eye tracking and conclude the results.
Okay. Can you
So
name
there
it?
are many various tools that are available in deep learning technologies, and various algorithms are there which are supporting eye tracking.
Okay.
Yeah. And in modern time, I think human computer interaction is the most needed technology, and it is the most needed paradigm in future also. So eye tracking is a novel technique, and I think more reliable technique to do human computer interaction.
Okay. Can you name in 2 common interaction techniques used in eye tracking?
Yes, ma'am. As I told you, for example, we can use the gaze detection method, we can use the pupil dilation method, we can use the dwell time technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot for listening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shonima, for graciously sharing this session and for your valuable time and guidance. We truly appreciate your insightful presence and the way you steered the session so effectively. Congratulations to all the participants, and thank you for being part of our two-day international conference on innovations for sustainable future, bridging science, society, and policy. Hereby, we conclude session 1. Day 1, paper presentation, session 1. Session 2 will begin sharp at 1:45. Participants, please join by 1:45. Thank you.